Even council members say the plan will take a leap of faith.
If things don't go the way we anticipate, we will correct them.
The lone dissenting vote, Councilmember Mitch Englander said in a statement, quote, I am not convinced that a unilateral minimum wage increase serves the intended purpose and may have unintended consequences, such as job loss and reduction in working hours. The plan now goes to the city attorney before coming back to committee and the city council. Council members say they are determined to get this right. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
Council members say they will continue to conduct studies on economic impact to the city, even as the wage hikes get implemented. Now, turning now to preliminary results from last week's runoff elections and the heated race for the Council District 4 seat. According to unofficial numbers from the LA City Clerk, Council District 4 candidate David Ryu was in the lead over Carolyn Ramsey. Now, take a look at the numbers. Ryu got the most votes with 11,269, representing 53.85% of the registered voting public, while 9,657, or 46.14% of the voters cast their ballots for Ramsey. Once again, these are unofficial numbers until the city clerk has counted the remaining outstanding ballots. The clerk has 21 days from Election Day to make the results official. Numbers showed only 8.6% of registered voters participated in those municipal elections, but efforts are underway to get more voters to the polls. Gil Reyes has more from Election Day in Hollywood.
The polls are now open.
It's a special day. Polling places from Sherman Oaks to the Miracle Mile to Hollywood, all decked out in red, white, and blue.
For me, this is a very big election. It's going to determine which way our school board goes.
Here we are, election morning in Council District 4, one of the more politically active council districts, relatively speaking. You consider last city elections in March, just 9% of city voters actually voted. Here in City 4, nearly twice that number. Let's see if voters return.
Not so bad. Better than I actually thought we would be.
Poll worker Sheila Lynn counted 14 voters in the first hour at this polling place in Hollywood. Voters deciding their next city council member and school board members. Still, voter participation overall was expected to be, quote, embarrassingly low, according to Council President Herb Wesson. That's why he authored two measures to change the city's election cycle.
So we're on the same track with the gubernatorial and presidential election in hopes of an increased turnout.
The philosophy is LA voters will be more enticed to participate if presidential and governor's races are also at stake. City elections will change to even-numbered years starting in 2020.
If that doesn't give us the desired increase, then we're going to need to look at other things.
One idea is to shift elections from Tuesdays to weekends, coincide it with Cicla Via and other outdoor events, and possibly watch participation grow. While Council President Wesson is suggesting stronger civics education in classrooms.
Start them early to be community or civic-minded.
To boost student interest long before they're old enough to vote. Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
The LA City Clerk's office says it plans to expand voter outreach through increased social media and additional street banners in the next election cycle. Well, many Angelenos have ripped out their lawns and cut their water use, but officials say that's simply not enough as our record-breaking drought continues. That's why local and state officials are stepping up efforts to make each drop count. Raja Goel has the details.
To help with the emergency drought conditions persisting throughout California, federal and state officials are coming together to leverage funding resources to improve water conservation. At a press conference held at the Donald Tillman Water Reclamation Plant, here's what officials had to say.
Today, we're announcing a new $50 million of water efficiency projects, most of them coming here to California. And you know you're not the only state in drought, but you're a state that is leveraging federal resources quite effectively to bring a lot of this money into your state.
Through the grant initiative called Water Smart, funding is provided for water conservation improvements and water reuse projects.
First of all, we're reclaiming and reusing water, similar to this project. We're granting money to line canals and to install piping that will reduce seepage losses in irrigation systems. We're installing advanced metering equipment.
In the case of the water efficiency projects and the feasibility studies, it's a required 50% match. 50% federal dollars and at least 50% non-federal dollars. Could be state, could be local, could be utility.
Officials say as of February 2015, Angelenos have used 22% less water than they did during the last major drought, which occurred in 2007. Yet a lot more work has to be done.
Our goal is to reduce our dependence on imported water and to build sustainability and to ensure that we can continue to serve great, clean, healthy water to all of our customers.
While officials are doing their part, the city is urging Angelenos to also do theirs when it comes to saving this precious resource. In Van Nuys, I'm Rasha Goel for LA This Week.
Out of that $50 million, more than $23 million will be invested in 7 water reclamation and reuse projects in California. And here in LA, it's a source for even more cutting-edge ideas on how to save California's precious water. The annual Spring Green Expo shows off the latest innovations on tap this year. Anna Marcos was there.
This toilet and the sign with it takes center stage on the floor. One of 70 exhibits of all things water-wise and earth-friendly at the Spring Green Expo.
It's a shame that we use clean water to flush our toilets.
It doesn't need to be a shame any longer. A simple $35 kit allows you to recycle water for flushing.
When you activate the flush, water starts coming out. You wash your hands in the sink, and the water there from the sinks drains into the toilet and waits there for your next flush.
The Metropolitan Water District, which supplies much of Southern California's water, including water used by LADWP, created the event. It's now in its 8th year.
8 of the last 9 years have been dry in California, so we're closing in on a decade of drought. And this is a eye-opener for California. This is the most serious drought we've seen. This is the perfect time for people to really look at new products and save water, save energy.
The LADWP, for its part, is helping customers to redesign their lawns and make money.
For example, if you have 1,000 square feet, and you take that out and replace that with a drought-tolerant landscape at $3.75 per square foot, we're talking about a check of $3,750 to the customer.
A $3,000 check sounds great. All you have to do is visit LADWP.com, file an online application, upload your pictures of your garden, and wait for pre-approval.
I'm excited because I don't like my grass not green. It's depressing to look at. But if I do it in an alternative format with drought-resistant plants and some really fun stuff, it's done.
Innovation is the name of the game here. Close to half of all the ideas come from students from local universities. Green algae gasoline, anyone? So we could be pumping gas that's actually algae in the future.
Yes, of course.
These students just might have designed the mixed-use residential complex of the future. A project with a net zero energy use.
We produce all of our energy on site that powers the whole building, all the lighting, all the laundry machines, everything, all the heating, and that's produced from solar panels, wind turbines, and water turbines.
Great water-saving ideas to help LA in what could be water-lean years ahead. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
The Metropolitan Water District provides wholesale water for about half of all Californians. Well, the LA Fire Department has seen only 2 graduating classes in the last 6 years. So this latest graduation ceremony comes with a lot of fanfare. We turn once again to Anna Marcos.
They march in ready to take on the job of becoming a firefighter with the LA Fire Department. This is only the 2nd graduating class of LA firefighter recruits since 2009. A solemn occasion, but one filled with family warmth and support. And it's the families who give the firefighters their badges.
Going forward, you're going to have a badge on your chest representing the LAFD. It's widely known that we're the finest department in the United States, some say the world.
The new firefighters show off some of the hard-won skills that earned them their badge over the rigorous 20-week training.
A dream doesn't become a reality through magic. It takes sweat,
determination, and hard work. Therefore, I urge you to sweat.
Firefighting is a dangerous and demanding profession, and your presence here today suggests that you have accepted this risk.
Only a select few of these firefighters make it through the training. Out of 43 original recruits, only 29 are here today.
I just tried my hardest on everything, gave 100%, but I like to thank my fellow recruits because, you know, we all push each other so hard to be our best.
There will be those days that are extraordinary ones, where you save a life, where you save property, where someone comes to you and gives you a hug, unsolicited, thanking you for what you have done in their family's history. But there will be those tough days, too. And I want you to capture the feeling that you have, because every single day of being a Los Angeles firefighter is a privilege.
And with a toss of their hats, these recruits are now full-fledged firefighters, ready to save a life at a moment's notice. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
And with new firefighters on the job, their safety, along with the safety of all Angelenos, is the top priority for LAFD officials. That's why they're reaching out to communities and encouraging them to do their part during wildfire season. With black smoke billowing high into the air, this fast-moving brush fire in Granada Hills last month scorched nearly 40 acres. More than 200 firefighters battled the blaze on the ground and in the air. Fortunately, no homes were damaged and no one was hurt. And fire officials want to keep it that way as we head into fire season by encouraging all Angelenos to be wildfire ready.
Have a plan, and when they ask you to evacuate, evacuate, because they are so fast moving that it is, you would be surprised how fast it is, and you don't want to be surprised.
Fire officials recently held a Wildfire Community Preparedness Day at Fire Station 12 in Highland Park. The event is a national program that aims to teach individuals how to get ready and prepare for wildfire season.
I think it's really important to learn what we can do to protect our homes and our neighbors and our city.
The LAFD works year-round to inspect high fire severity zones, but they can't prevent all fires from breaking out. So officials are urging everyone to do their part to keep branches and foliage trimmed and all brush maintained.
Wildfires? Well, they're very dangerous and they spread fast.
Fire officials say all brush and vegetation should be no more than 3 inches tall and at least 200 feet clear of any structures. Trees and branches should also be kept 10 feet away from your chimney.
Basically, what we're trying to do is create that area so that in case you have combustible materials around your roof and pine needles and things like that, you want to keep off of your roof so that flames and sparks don't jump from roof to roof and from property to property.
Officials hope that by spreading the word, we can all get ahead of the flames. Plans to build a bike bridge connecting Atwater Village to Silver Lake has cyclists excited. But pedestrians, well, that's a different story. We turn once again to Gil Reyes. Gil.
That's right, Yana. That proposed bike and pedestrian bridge would be designed using existing infrastructure that was built way back in the day when the red trolley rolled through here. But some area residents are concerned about pedestrian safety.
This is history happening because Mitch O'Farrell makes it happen.
LA City Councilman and avid cyclist Tom LaBonge excited over plans to build a bike path on both sides of this iconic bridge. The Glendale Hyperion Bridge overlooking the LA River will soon undergo earthquake retrofitting. The plan also calls for permanent bike paths linking Atwater Village to Silver Lake. The idea spearheaded by Councilman Mitch O'Farrell.
It has been my goal and my mission to connect the neighborhoods as never before.
We cannot have a bridge that's going to be there for 100 years and not have sidewalks on both sides.
Deborah Murphy from the group LA Walks and roughly 1,200 others have signed petitions against a Bureau of Engineering recommendation. The problem is not the proposed bike bridge. Everyone we talk to loves that idea. It's just that one of 2 pedestrian sidewalks would have to be removed to make room.
Removing that sidewalk is going to force me to have to walk a half a mile out of the way just to get to this beautiful red car park and this bridge.
Don Ward says the alternative would be either to walk on bike paths where he could be hit by a cyclist, or even worse, walk in traffic where he could be hit by a car. He suspects other pedestrians would do the same if the sidewalk is yanked.
We want to make Los Angeles a place where pedestrians can get around, where people can choose to walk.
City crews hope to break ground in July 2018 and hope to have it finished within 3 to 4 years after that. Yana?
Gil, thanks. Councilman O'Farrell has supported the placement of synchronized pedestrian crosswalks on the bridge to make walking safer. Well, this week we continue our look at the city's new initiative called CityLink LA, an initiative that officials say will help LA businesses grow and prosper. In today's digital age, high-speed internet and Wi-Fi have become an essential utility in order to compete in the global marketplace. But here in Los Angeles, many business owners face additional financial hardships when they have to constantly upgrade their high-speed internet in order to operate. Business advocates say it puts them in a tough spot.
You have to think, am I going to get Wi-Fi, or do I give someone that's in badly need of a raise? What do I do?
On top of that, City Council member Bob Blumenfield says businesses have taken drastic measures to stay competitive. Some have left Los Angeles altogether, while others haven't come at all because LA's virtual infrastructure isn't up to speed. He says businesses need to know that in LA, they can operate and stay competitive using the highest broadband speeds available. And in order to do that, city leaders are embarking on a new initiative called CityLink LA.
What that does for the businesses that are here, it makes them super competitive. It makes them not only competitive locally, but it makes them be able to compete around the world. And that's really exciting.
CityLink LA seeks to provide affordable and reliable high-speed internet and Wi-Fi to all LA residents and businesses, regardless of income or neighborhood. The Valley Economic Alliance, a nonprofit that seeks to elevate and support local businesses, has already reached out to thousands of local shop owners to find out how the initiative can help them.
From their input, we're able to go ahead and provide that information back to CityLink LA in order to go ahead and developing a more robust system.
A more robust system that officials hope will make LA a place where businesses can not only operate, but thrive. A Los Angeles City landmark turns 80 years old, a special honor for a city council member, and new housing for military veterans. Those stories and more in City Beat. Outgoing City Council member Tom LaBonge recently celebrated the Griffith Observatory's 80 years of public service. Observatory Director Dr. E.C. Krupp, employees and community members were on hand to mark the occasion on the north steps of the observatory building, complete with a birthday cake.
This is the beauty of where this building sits. And to think in 1935 when completed, what a gift it was to Los Angeles.
The Griffith Observatory sits on the south-facing slope of Mount Hollywood. The land was donated to the city of Los Angeles by Colonel Griffith J. Griffith in 1896. In his will, Griffith donated funds to build an observatory, exhibit hall, and planetarium on the donated land. Admission has been free since its opening in 1935. From honoring a city landmark to being honored himself, Councilmember LaBonge was recognized during the 21st annual Treasures of Los Angeles luncheon fundraiser for his years of dedication and service to the city of Los Angeles. Held at the Westin Bonaventure Hotel, Councilmember Jose Huizar did the honors and handed LaBonge his well-deserved plaque. Council President Herb Wesson and former LA Mayor Antonio Villaraigosa were also on hand, as well as LA World Airport's Executive Director Gina Marie Lindsay, who also received honors. Hosted by the Central City Association of Los Angeles, the luncheon recognizes those Angelenos who have made outstanding contributions to the city. New housing for veterans is taking shape in Cypress Park. Councilmember Gil Cedillo, along with other city departments, broke ground on the Marmion Way Apartments, a 49-unit, 4-story affordable housing complex that will house veterans and their families. The project is scheduled to be move-in ready in 2016. LA City Council voted to officially designate the famed Norm's Diner on La Cienega Boulevard as a historic cultural monument. The diner is slated for demolition, but now further review by city leaders would be required before the property's new owners take any steps to tear it down. There was an outpouring of support from city council members, community activists, and fans of the establishment who rallied to preserve Norm's and its unique Googie-style architecture. LAPD Chief Charlie Beck marks a milestone. Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti applauds City Council's support of the minimum wage hike and a chance to win tickets for Sesame Street Live. Here's This Week in Tweets. On his Twitter page, Chief Charlie Beck linked to a short video clip of his special day as he received his 40-year pin from Police Commissioner Steve Soboroff, celebrating his 4 decades of service to the residents of Los Angeles. LAPD HQ tweeted a pic of Beck with Soboroff and then making remarks at the podium. LAPD HQ also recognized other service members who received honors by tweeting #LAPD ceremony. Congrats to all the recipients of service pins. Honorees all served 30-plus years. LAFD Chief Terrazas tweeted, "Congrats on 40 years, Chief Beck." In other tweets, following the minimum wage vote, Mayor Eric Garcetti's office tweeted, "We did it, LA. #Raise the Wage LA has passed City Council." The LA Zoo also tweeted an adorable pic of Rosie the baby hippo taking a ride on Mom. The zoo posted, "It's the only way to travel." And LA Live tweeted a chance for you to win a family 4-pack to see Sesame Street's Let's Dance Live on May 30th or 31st. Click on the link and fill out your information. And that's a look at This Week in Tweets. A treasure hunt in the forest, a journey back in time through a historic LA neighborhood, and the Stars and Stripes take center stage. These stories in this week's Things to Do. It's time for a magical afternoon in the Griffith Park Forest. Bring your kids to a Fairy Hunts A Mermaid's Tale performance and Queen's birthday party on Saturday, May 30th. Get whisked away in a family adventure with a treasure hunt, circle time with the Fairy Queen, dancing, games, fairy unicorn card readings, fairy face painting, snacks, frolic, and lots of fun. Tickets for the show and party are $25 per person. It's $15 a ticket for show only or party only. Groups and birthdays are welcome. The fun begins at 10:30 at Griffith Park, Ferndale, located at 2333 Ferndale Drive. The birthday party begins at 11:30 a.m. Reservations are suggested. For more information and to buy tickets, visit afairyhunt.com. Go back in time with a look into LA's past. Photographs showcasing the transformation of a historic Los Angeles neighborhood are showcased in the exhibit Bunker Hill in the Rear View Mirror, the Rise, Fall, and Rise Again of an Urban Neighborhood, are currently on display at the Central Library in downtown. The exhibit features 33 images in addition to new articles and recollections illustrating the complex story of Bunker Hill, from its posh heyday in the 1880s to its post-World War II decline and subsequent redevelopment in the 1960s and 1970s. The exhibit is located on the first floor gallery, 630 West 5th Street. For more, visit lapl.org. Experience patriotism on a whole new level with a new William Pope L. Trinket exhibit at the Museum of Contemporary Art. This larger-than-life American flag represents the recent work of the Chicago-based artist. The exhibition features large-scale installations and a new performance and sculpture work. The centerpiece of the show is Trinket, a monumental, custom-made American flag, approximately 54 by 16 feet, hanging on a pole in the middle of the Geffen. The flag will be continuously blown by 4 large-scale industrial fans, the type used on Hollywood film sets to create wind or rain effects, and will be illuminated from below by a bank of custom theatrical lights. Over time, the flag will appear to fray at its ends due to the constant whipping of the forced air. This is the largest museum presentation of Pope L's work to date. It's on display now through June 28. Don't miss it. The Geffen Contemporary at MoCA is located at 152 North Central Avenue. For more information, visit moca.org. And that's a look at some things to do. And that's going to do it for this edition. I'm Yana Kay, and from all of us here at LA This Week, thanks for joining us. A reminder that you can catch us online at lacityview.org. You can also follow and like us on Facebook. We'll see you back here next week for more of LA This Week.
live from Los Angeles. You're watching LA City View, Channel 35. Our city, our channel.
morning. Let's try that again. Good morning. All right, there we go. Good morning and welcome to the Los Angeles City Council. Today is Tuesday. Thank you, Herman. May 26, 2015. We are live on the internet and streaming on Channel 35. Hope everybody had a nice weekend, and I want to thank all those who honored the ones that came before us for Memorial Day and served this country and paid the ultimate sacrifice, and all of their families as well. And thank you so much for all of that this weekend to memorialize all of them. Madam Clerk, if we can please call the roll.
Blumenfeld, Bonin, Buscaino, Cedillo, Englander, Fuentes, Weezer, Caress, Krikorin, Labange, Martinez, O'Farrell, Parks, Price, Wesson. 12 members present, a quorum, Mr. President.
Great. Thank you very much. Mr. Parks moves, Mr. Price seconds. Next item, please.
Approval of the minutes.
Okay. Mr. Bonin moves, Mr. Cedillo seconds.
Next is committed to resolutions for approval.
Okay. Mr. Krikorin moves, Mr. Labange seconds. Next item.
Mr. President, today is Tuesday, and now be the time for the flag salute.
Great. Excellent. If everybody can please rise and ask Mr. Tom Labange to lead us in the nation's flag salute, please.
Thank you. I ask you all to rise, and our very special guests here at the John Perrault Chambers, and place your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Labange. Members, okay, if we can please direct your attention to the agenda. Madam Clerk, let's go ahead and run through the agenda now at this time.
Mr. President, before we begin, there's a request to continue item 24 to June 9th.
Okay, 24 to June 9th. That'll be the order without objection. Next item.
Items 1 and 2 are items noticed for public hearing. There are cards on both items.
We'll go ahead and hold those for cards.
Items 3 through 18 are items for which public hearings have been held.
3 through 18. Any members? I'm sorry?
Mr. President, I believe...
Okay, we're going to go ahead. I'm sorry. Yes, go ahead, Madam Clerk.
Oh, no, I was going to say, I believe Mr. Cedillo would like to hold item 18.
18 for Mr. Cedillo. We'll go ahead and hold 14 as well. We do have, I believe, a commissioner in there as well. So, members, seeing no other specials, we'll go ahead and open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Great. Thank you very much, and congratulations to Mr. Szabo for your reappointment.
On all trade and commerce issues, I'd like to go forth with the economy of the Port of Los Angeles.
Okay, those will, which...
they're listed there.
Yes, got them. All right, those will be forthwith without objection. That'll be the order. You got it, Mr.
For the item, Mr. President, those items are items 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and item 12.
Great, yes, thank you very much. And with that, we'll go ahead and... that's fine. Let's go ahead and take the next items, please.
Items 19 through 30 are items for which public hearings have not been held. 10 votes required for consideration.
Okay, those are considered without objection. That'll be the order. We have cards?
Yes, cards on items 19, 20, 25, 26, 27, 29, and 30.
Okay, the remaining items, members? Mr. Labange. Okay, we got it. The remaining items?
And also cards on items 22 and 23.
Okay, so that leaves us with items 21, 24, and 28. Okay, we'll go ahead and open the roll on those items.
And, Mr. President, for the record, item 24 has been continued to June 9th.
All right, continued. So we'll go ahead and open the roll on 21 and 28. Close the roll and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. And let's go ahead now. If we could, we can just go ahead and open the roll on item 14. Close the roll and tabulate the vote.
11 ayes, 1 no.
Okay, thank you very much. Now we'll go ahead and take the next items.
Mr. President, item 31 is a closed session item. Do you wish to hold that on the desk?
We can go ahead and hold that on the desk for now as well, and then the supplementals we can hold as well. So let's go ahead and turn the floor over to Councilmember Joe Buscaino for a special presentation.
Thank you, Mr. President. Come on, guys. Come and join us. We have two of our local youths of the year representing Watts and Harbor City. I'd like to celebrate both Ronnie and Brian's success through the Youth of the Year program brought to you by the LA County Alliance Boys and Girls Club. The Youth of the Year winners this year are Brian Juarez, representing Watts, and Ronnie Olejumua. Did I do that right? Come on, say your They butcher my last name, too. What is it?
Oloimoja.
Oloimoja.
Easy for you to say, Mr. Blue Skyano.
Ronnie represents us in Harbor City. These two teams were amongst 19 youth delegates selected by their respective clubs throughout Los Angeles County to compete for what the Boys and Girls Clubs of America considers to be their premier recognition program. And it's a vigorous process and highly competitive. This year, both winners are from Council District 15. We're really proud of them, proving just how effective good programming can be at our local Boys and Girls Clubs. Both will go on to compete with their peers at a statewide level, followed a regional competition, and ending with the National Youth of the Year competition. Since 1947, the Youth of the Year has been the Boys and Girls Club of America's premier program, celebrating the extraordinary achievements of club teams, and club members who earned the Youth of the Year title embody the values of leadership, service, academic excellence, and healthy lifestyles. They exemplify the critical impact that Boys and Girls Clubs have on the lives of our young people. Local clubs recognize members the age of 14 to 18 as Youth of the Month winners and select the Youth of the Year, who then participate in state competitions. State winners receive $5,000 scholarships and advance to regional competitions. And, of course, the National Youth of the Year represents all the Boys and Girls Club youths throughout the country. I want to highlight both Brian and Ronnie. Brian is a graduating senior at King Drew Magnet High School of Medicine and Science. He's aspiring to attend Cal State Long Beach and has been a member of the Watts Willowbrook Club for 4 years and has shown promise to be an exceptional leader and team member through the Keystone Club for the number of the community organizations such as Project Give and others. He enjoys reading and is an avid collector of vinyl records. Brian has achieved the outstanding honor of being an ABC 7 cool kid. We have ABC 7 up there.
We have ABC 7 here.
7 right here. He's one of you. He's one of your cool kids this year. Brian, we are so proud of you. We love you. We want the best for you. Let's give Brian Juarez a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Want to take the word? So help me welcome Brian Juarez to say a few words.
Thank you, Mr. Buscaino, and thank you all for being here today. This award, it's an opportunity for me to give a greater impact to my city, and I believe that with the help of the council, we can truly change the city into something better, not only for the youth, but for everyone here. Thank you.
All right, Brian.
Congratulations. Yes, thank you.
I'll be first to endorse Brian Juarez for city council one day. Next, Ronnie. Ronnie is a graduating senior from an amazing charter high school, the Port of Los Angeles High School. She hopes to attend USC and majoring in business and marketing. Ronnie was awarded the Dean's List for maintaining a 3.0 GPA while being involved in a number of activities in school and throughout the community. She is a leader in her community and at the club, representing the Harbor City Boys and Girls Club. She runs at least 1 mile a day and stays away from junk food to maintain a healthy lifestyle. help me welcome Ronnie, who is passionate about music and loves to sing. So, Ronnie, come say a few words.
I just really want to thank everyone that really helped us become Youth of the Year, because without their great mentoring and without their contributions to our clubs, this wouldn't be possible. And I just want to thank all you guys for being part of the youth and being part of our cities and helping us out. And so thank you very much.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Thanks, Ronnie. And joining both Ronnie and Brian are their mentors and their family members who are here in council chambers. It does take a village. I want to thank the members of the Boys and Girls Clubs and their family members and co-workers who are here supporting them. So on behalf of the entire city of Los Angeles, we congratulate both Ronnie and Brian on being selected the Youth of the Year for both the Watts and Harbor City Boys and Girls Clubs. There you go. Look at Sherry, guys.
Congratulations. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you for bringing them here as well. Congratulations to both of you. Yes. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Labange. I didn't see it.
I'm so impressed with these young people. I wanted to rise. And I see the mayor's guy over there, and he's on the internet or whatever you're playing with. I got here 40 years ago plus by Mayor Tom Bradley on his youth council. Mr. Koretz came on the youth council. We need a youth council, Mr. Mayor's deputy, okay? So please report that to the mayor's office. I rise for young people. Mr. Buscaino, there's nothing like honoring young people. Good job. Let's get the youth council back in the mayor's office. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you. Yes.
I understand. I think he's got one coming, and we just kicked our youth council on the CD15 because of members like you, Labange, who continue to advocate for our youth. And when teenagers speak, people listen. That's why I started the teen program with the LAPD. They need to be in the forefront and part of the problem-solving process. So thank you very much for those words, Mr. Labange.
Great. Thank you. All right. Now we have a special presentation by Councilmember Bernard Parks. The floor is yours. Mr. Parks, before you come up, if I can ask, if there's any members of the audience, if you keep walking in the aisle, it's disrupting the meeting. Find a seat, have a seat, stay in the seat. If you're gonna disrupt the meeting, you're gonna be asked to leave the chamber. So I'm giving you a warning right now. Do not stand in the aisle. Don't walk back and forth. Find a seat, stay in the seat, or stand all the way in the back. But do not walk back and forth because you are disrupting the meeting. Thank you very much. Mr. Parks.
Thank you very much. Colleagues, today we're joined with Mr. Daryl Newhouse, who is the mentor coach of the Fauché First Robotics team. We also have two volunteers, Clemmy Jones, a volunteer, and also Gail Lennon. Ms. Edwards, the principal, was scheduled to be here today, but due to an emergency, she wasn't able to get here. But we wanted to honor this school because of their significant achievements. Come on up. First of all, Fauché First Robotic Team 597 was able to earn the prestigious Chairman's Award and become the first LA Unified School team to achieve this high honor. They're one of only 22 in the history of this program to receive this honor throughout the nation. And they received it for the 2015 competition in St. Louis, Missouri. Team 597 was not only judged on their presentation, but on the impact they've had within their community, team members, and the way the team conducted themselves in and out of the competition. Members dedicated at least 200 hours of community service through numerous community events, such as breast cancer awareness, blood drives, canned food drives, charity walks, Toys for Tots, math tutoring, and more. For the last 6 years, they have helped serve over 16,000 meals to needy families through the Gobble Gobble Give program. They participated in 15 to 20 robot demonstrations throughout the year at several elementary and middle schools, as well as events in Los Angeles Trade Tech Stream Fair, Stan Lee's Kamikaze Expo, the Los Angeles Times Book Festival of Books. Team 597 is more than just a robotic team. It's a family that's able to share within their community. A group made up of inner city high school students who are largely first generation, and despite their background and economic status, they've not only been able to be exposed but inspire to pursue STEAM careers. Team 597 is a LAUSD High School first robotic team from Fauché Learning Center in Los Angeles. Since 2001, the team has set out to change the way their community perceives STEM careers. Adhering to the spirit of FIRST, this mission is encourage, motivation, and inspire young men and women through the use of robotics to pursue their interest in the STEM field. They foster positive, humanistic, and multicultural experiences that cultivate teamwork, responsibility, commitment, and all the stakeholders involved: student, teachers, parents, mentors, sponsors, and their community. Just as an aside, when you go back and look at the history of Fauché, years ago, Fauché was viewed as one of the least achieving schools in our community and maybe even nationwide. They then rebounded and became one of the top 10 schools in the nation. And most recently, they were then accredited with a top 50 spot in the nation. Their achievements in robotics is phenomenal, and it's something in which all of us should be very proud. I'd like to ask Mr. Newhouse to come up at this time and make some comments, and he's also going to select a couple of students to also talk about their experiences.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
My name is Daryl Newhouse. I'm a mathematics/robotics teacher at Fauché Learning Center. I've been at Fauché for 23 years, and we have issues in California. We have issues in this nation. We have issues around the world. We've got a drought problem. We have transportation issue problems. We've got pollution problems. We've got populations that can't even feed themselves. Someone's got to solve those issues. A lot of people in this room believe there is a problem with our education system. There is no problem with the education system. What we have is a cultural problem that needs to be fixed. The greatest challenge these kids have is technology. Every school in LA must embrace technology, bring it into the classroom. Give these young people the opportunity to become problem solvers, creative thinkers. Give them the opportunity to think like scientists and engineers. Robotics has afforded us that opportunity. My kids have earned the title First Robotics Chairman Hall of Fame Team. There are over 3,000 First Robotic teams worldwide. It is an international competition, and we earn the Hall of Fame award, or the Chairman's Award. So I could go on and on and on. And this was not an easy task, but I tell you, supporters like Bernard Parks, supporters like our principal, Yvonne Edwards, who believe in us and made it possible, we'd like to welcome our council member, Bernard Parks, to the First Robotics Hall of Fame, first standing for inspiration and recognition of science and technology. So, Councilman Parks, welcome to the Hall of Fame. Okay, so I'm going to have my student captain say a few words. Anna will be first. Anna Hernandez. She is actually what we call our Alera Medal winner. One of the highest scholarships you can earn in First Robotics is the Alera Medal, and it comes with a $10,000 scholarship. The other is a Jason Mares. He's my junior captain, and he was actually our Dean's List Award winner in the First Robotics competition. He carries a 4.0 grade point average, and he wants to be a math teacher. So, Anna, you're first.
Hello, my name's Anna Hernandez. I have been part of the First Robotics Team 597 for about 7 years now. That just means that being part of this family for that long makes sure that it's impacted my life. My high school career wouldn't have been the same without my involvement within the team. Not only have I learned hard skills like programming, machining, building the robot itself, but I've also learned soft skills such as business, how to write a business plan, how to do public presentations, and how to build up my own resume. My My digital portfolio showcases not only my work samples and my involvement with the team, I've been able to have a full resume, and it's really helped me go ahead and do a lot more public speaking events, such as my junior year, I went over to Apple's headquarters in Cupertino and really got to go ahead and talk about why there needs to be more involvement between women and minorities, and why there should be diversity inside these big tech companies. So I really have to say thank you to Team 597, because without them, my entire life, I don't know what would have happened.
Hello, my name is Jason Mars. Like Mr. Newhouse said, I'm currently a junior, and what FIRST and Team 597 has done to me is that we strongly believe in the quote, "We build more than robots, we build character." And this is certainly true, because part of FIRST and part of this team, we learn qualities that any employer outside in the real world would want to hire. They want people who are diligent, honest, trustworthy, hardworking. These are all the qualities that this team composes themselves of. We strongly believe that our three strongest qualities are family, sharing, and volunteering. This couldn't be any more truer as well. And also, like Anna, I've also learned these type of skills that she has. Some machining, some wiring, some business plan, a bit of everything. Wherever I found my interest, that's where I worked on. And this is what Team 597 has done for me.
Okay, just real quick for the record, ladies and gentlemen. Our principal, Yvonne Edwards, our supporter of our robotic team, Gail Lennon, a volunteer of our robotic team, Clemmy Jones, a volunteer of our robotic team, Angel Castaneda, a member of our robotic team, high school student, 12th grade, Brian Guzman, high school student, 12th grade, Anna Hernandez, high school student, 12th grade, Karen Oriana, high school student, 12th grade, Catherine Perez, high school student, 12th grade, Carolina Menjivar, high school student, 12th grade, Jason Mares, high school student, 11th grade, Juan Hernandez, high school student, 10th grade, Evelyn Rodriguez, high school student, 12th grade, Jasenia Trinidad, high school student, 12th grade, Hector Ramirez, high school student, 11th grade, Kimberly Gavidia, high school student, 12th grade, Antonio Yat, high school student, 12th grade, Jocelyn Rivas, high school student, 12th grade, Salvador Salinas, high school student, 11th grade, Lisette Chinchilla, high school student, 11th grade, Juan Abrego, high school student, 11th grade, Adrian Perez, high school student, 11th grade, Angel Arcudia, high school student, 10th grade, Jamie Lopez, high school student, 12th grade. One note, I've had a lot of these students in 6th grade, so I know their likes and dislikes. I've seen them cry, and I'm telling you, they've come a long way. So don't worry about the future, because you've got one group of kids here, and we hope to spread this all to Los Angeles, that we're going to take care of Los Angeles and America. Thank you.
Thank you. One thing I'd like to also mention is that much of the travel and the equipment that's needed for this school are provided by the credit cards of the teachers and the principal, in the sense of them putting forth the funds for kids to attend. We'd like to at this time make a presentation. Mr. Newhouse, on behalf of LA City Council, suitable for framing. Every one of the students' names are listed so that you have it in a permanent place in the school. Also, each one of the students have their own individual certificates, which will take pictures in the back. So thank you very much for being here.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much. Let's give them all another round of applause. Outstanding. Thank you very much. All right, we're going to go ahead and turn our attention back to the agenda if we can, Madam Clerk. Believe we're on item 19, called Special for Cards. Is that correct?
Yes, item 19, called Special for Cards.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and take John Walsh, followed by Arnold Sachs, Eric Previn, and Kevin Modis, in that order, or whoever comes first. But if the names that I've called after in those orders can line up behind that second set of velvet ropes, so you can get ready to speak. Thank you.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org, or J. Walsh Confidential, tweeting at Hollywood Dems. Okay, this concerns the reappointment of Jimmy H. Hara to the Board of Fire Commissioners. Actually, I'm against this because the Fire Commission there are 5 boils on the ass of Garcetti. I want to know the cause of the Da Vinci fire. First, the police police said it was an accident. Then, when the feds came in, they found an incendiary device. That's not ravings. That's in the LA Times. I just want everyone out there in the world to know. You can come in here, this is the unsolved arson capital of the world, and burn down any damn thing you want and collect the insurance.
Great, thank you. Next speaker. I've called all the names, so come on up. The other names I'd like behind the second set of ropes, if you're planning on speaking.
The second set of ropes, sir? What do you mean?
Right behind you is another set of ropes. That would be the first, that would be the second.
Ropes? I'm not following that one.
The velvet rope, right? Go ahead and speak.
Am I in a place where I can be or not?
Yes, you're.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
Speaking.
You're talking about velvet ropes, sir. I don't know what you mean. But it is Eric Previn, and I am a city resident. This is a public meeting, sir. Okay? Thank you. It's Eric Previn, and I am a city resident from Council District 2. Yeah, exactly. Correct. And this item has to do with the Mayor's Office and the City Ethics Commission, 2 groups that I am a little bit familiar with. And they are pressing back into service a guy named Jimmy Hara, who I don't know well, who will be extending his term. Oh, Mr. Labange has stepped in. Mr. Englander is out. Very good. Thank you, sir. Good morning. It's good to see you, as usual. Sorry about Ms. Ramsey. Mr. Rue is in. It's okay. He's a good man.
He is not talking about this item.
No. I'm trying to speak on it, sir. We just changed representatives during the meeting. Thank you. I'm going to. So the Fire Commission is an important body, and I appreciate it. And I appreciate what the Ethics Commission is doing by vetting the guy. The problem is that when the Mayor and the Ethics Commission vet folks and it comes before City Council, the way it's done is in a meeting off to the side. It's called a committee meeting, generally speaking. And last week, as Ms. Martinez will confirm, they did the same pair, which was the Mayor and the Ethics Commission, were acknowledging that Ms. DeHaan, Anna Teresa DeHaan of NBC Universal, was going to be added to the Ethics Commission. Now, the manner in which they did that was unfair because the public was not permitted, Mr. O'Connell, and I know you're an expert on the Brown Act, to address that particular item, like I'm addressing this item now.
He is not talking about item 19.
Thank you. Continue, Mr. President. Ethics Commission vetting is not elaborate. It's a Form 700. They look at if there's conflicts or various interests. Mr. Hara has obviously passed muster, and that's fine. The point is that when we have meetings in this forum, the city should bend over backwards so that they can hear from constituent representatives of the public who come down to participate in our meeting. It's called civic engagement.
That completes it. There's Mr. Hara right there. Go to a Fire Commission meeting. He's a great guy. Mr. Sachs.
Yes, thank you. Good morning, Arnold Sachs. And as this is a reappointment, I was wondering if the gentleman or any members of the Fire Commission might have been paying attention to some of the problems that have been going on with the County Board of Supervisors, Fire Department, and the hiring process and the nepotism that is involved. Because as a reappointment, you would think that the person was doing a great job and he may be able to extend his ability to conquer the problem because the city doesn't have those problems of nepotism and testing results and recruitment problems. He may be able to use some of his wisdom and help the county with their problem. And it would be beneficial to everybody who lives in the county of Los Angeles. I'm just saying, this is a reappointment. So he must be doing a fabulous job as all the elected officials keep getting reelected. They're doing fabulous jobs. So I would just hope that he would use that fountain of knowledge to help the county conquer their problems. Thank you.
Kevin Modis.
I have no comment. I rescind my comment.
All right, that completes it. Members, no speakers on the queue. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Mr. Hara, Commissioner, good job. Now go back there and help that commission. Thank you so much. Give Mr. Hara a big hand there, Public Works Board. You're up here next. Okay, next item will be?
Item 18, cause sponsored by Councilmember Cedillo.
Mr. Cedillo of the 1st District.
Yes, Mr. President, I'd like to move the recommendations presented in the CAO report that has now been circulated.
Is there a second?
Second by Mr. Buscaino. Thank you so much. All right, it's a Renesco account. No speakers on the queue. So open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Thank you, Madam Julie. Thank you. All right, next item will be item 25. Mr. Previn, you have one card. Mr. Previn.
Thank you, sir. It's Eric Previn. This is about $291,000 gift. I believe it's from the federal government. It's some excess stuff, and it does look like some of it could be useful. I looked closely. There are 3 Wii consoles, which I must say, let's be very judicious the way we distribute those among the council members, because there's only 3 of them, and there are 15 different council members, so I don't know exactly how that, I'm assuming that these are for training, by the way, and not for fun. But nonetheless, most of the stuff looks like reasonable rescue stuff. It's sort of 300 backpacks, so that when, I should say, rather than if, when the next one shows up of some kind or another, at least our law enforcement will be able to use some of this old federal stuff. And I do hope that in addition to that, though, the city does plan to continue to stock up on the appropriate stuff, because this stuff is probably, who knows. But nonetheless, it's reasonable. The guy, Russ Gibson, also works for the state of California in the Office of Emergency Security or Emergency Systems. So you can rest assured this is the seal from Sacramento. And, the one thing that I will say is, as you know, because I know you read the newspaper, President Obama was saying recently, we have to be cautious about giving stuff that can be used inappropriately to law enforcement. This is not, I look carefully, a set of RPGs for the LAPD, which, of course, historically we have taken with great fanfare. LA County Sheriff's Department, if you've ever been over there, they have a arsenal that would, we used to say Sheriff's Baca, it's the Air Force or whatever. We don't want that kind of stuff. We want to stay focused on enforcing the rules and laws and saving good folks. And I appreciate your help in that, Mr. LaBonge, because you've been doing it for years. It's nice to have a professional at the helm, as opposed to Mr. Englander, who I do say is pernicious and contemptuous of the public, and he needs to change his ways. Thank you, sir.
Okay. No other speakers on the queue? No, sir. Okay. I know. I just got the card now. I'm giving it to the clerk. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
12 ayes. Number 27 is next. Mr. Walsh, you have a card? Go to the ropes and we'll talk to you, sir. Thank you so much. Mr. Walsh, please.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org. This concerns Department of Public Works, perhaps the worst department of all. Public Works just the other day, over the weekend, sliced into our gas lines, and Hollywood and Cahuenga and Hollywood and Yunker was no man's land for 24 hours. I want everybody who's watching this to go outside and take a look at the state of the city. Graffiti splattered, streets falling apart, everything. And what are we going to do here? We're going to kiss the Public Works and Mayor Garcetti's backside. The Public Works Department here is a monster. It's out of control, and all you want to do is vote for more parties. Public Works, my ass.
Mr. Buscaino.
President. Thank you, Mr. President. Appreciate that. Colleagues, this item before you is an important item that we have actually, the city failed to take advantage over the course of the last decade. In the first half of the 20th century, Los Angeles has experienced explosive growth. But for decades and decades, past mayors and councils did not allocate the funding necessary to maintain the expansive 28,000-mile street system that resulted from all that growth. And this item before you talks about the Public Works and the Bureau, and which is the only city department with a full-time board of commissioners that meet 3 times a week. There's no question the framers of our modern city charter recognize the extremely important and indispensable role of public works and civil infrastructure in a modern global city. The department's 5 bureaus build and maintain the city's streets, install and maintain sewers and public lights, and construct storm drains, public buildings, right-of-ways, and service facilities. We quite literally cannot survive without them, so it's little surprise the charter requires the board to present an annual report to the City Council on a previous year's activities and expenditures. And before you, you have fiscal year 13-14, the annual report, which I found to be very useful and really appreciate the work that's been done on all levels from the Bureau to put this out. And Commissioner James, if I can call you to the table, he was here to give this report in front of the full council. Again, this is the first one that we've done in nearly a decade. And Board President Kevin James, want to welcome all the commissioners who are here as well, Commissioner Szabo, Commissioner Penning, Commissioner Romero, and the entire heads of state representing the bureaus of the Public Works. Thank you so much. I'll turn over, if I can, Mr. President, to Commissioner James to give the annual report. Thank you. Sorry. That was dancing a little bit.
Thank you, Councilmember Buscaino. Thank you, Mr. President. As president of the city's only full-time commission that oversees the 5 bureaus of the Department of Public Works, which managed a cumulative $534 million annual operating budget and over 4,600 regular authorized positions in the fiscal year ending on June 30th, 2014, I'm honored to present the department's annual report. It has been approximately 8 years since such an annual report has been published and presented to your council. This report covers the very first year of service for the current Board of Public Works. Please note that the annual report is available online at bpw.lacity.org. It is important to remember, particularly since we've been involved in the budget discussions for next year, that this annual report covers the previous year. It is also important to note that our board recognizes the ongoing obligation of publishing such an annual report and presenting it to the City Council every year. After getting the process going again, subsequent to years of absence of the report, we are already in the process of compiling the data for the current fiscal year and plan to release that report prior to the end of this calendar year. With the closure of National Public Works Week on Friday, I would like to thank Public Works Committee Chairman Buscaino and Committee Members Price and Cedillo for their leadership and for this invitation to appear before you today. I would also like to thank the Department's Public Affairs Office for their assistance in gathering the data compiled by the bureaus and in arranging the document. With the Mayor's focus on open data and metrics, we decided to steer our first annual report in the same direction for each bureau and for the Board's Office of Community Beautification, and will continue to build toward and will continue to do so in the years ahead. As we go forward and continue to build toward a more complete report in the years ahead, while balancing the desire to keep the report at a manageable length that will attract readers' attention rather than turn them away because of its sheer size and potential detail, let me be the first to say that more specific information regarding the cost of many of the programs referenced in the report will be included in future reports. The challenge will always be to find the appropriate balance that provides the best benefit to the reader. On page 8 of the report, you can see an overview by the numbers of the city's infrastructure. On page 9, you see a summary of the breakdown of the department by the number of employees in each bureau and the breakdown of the department's budget by each bureau for fiscal year 13-14. Turning to page 12 of the report and starting with the Board's Office of Community Beautification, which is the board program that most routinely affects each of your council districts, after providing a brief summary of the Office of Community Beautification, we provided 3 areas of comparison of the work done by OCB in the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2014 with the prior fiscal year, as well as some of the metrics and the statistics that guide OCB. Paul Roch, the program's director, will briefly discuss the highlights that the metrics offer and of course is available to answer any of your questions at the conclusion of our presentation this morning. Paul?
Good morning. Paul Roch, Director of the Office of Community Beautification. Just to quickly run through two of our major programs that we operate out of the office. The first one being the graffiti removal program for the City of Los Angeles. And I'm sure every City Council member is aware that we contract with 13 nonprofit community-based organizations who are geographically spread throughout the City of Los Angeles and are out there removing graffiti on a daily basis. In fiscal year 13-14, 32.6 million square feet of graffiti was removed from over 546,000 locations. The total cost for that was $7.1 million, which worked out to approximately 22 cents per square foot of graffiti removed, which is well below the industry standard of graffiti removal. Besides removing graffiti, the OCB program employs over 100 persons through those nonprofit community-based organizations, almost all of who are residents of the City of Los Angeles. Those contractors responded to 118,000 requests for service, which was roughly 22% of the overall work performed. 67% of those requests were completed within 24 hours. 78% were completed within 48 hours, and 85% of the service requests were completed within 72 hours. In addition to the regular graffiti removal, we also have specialty graffiti removal services. We cleaned graffiti off 93 murals throughout the City of Los Angeles and applied protective coatings to 5 new murals, in addition to removing graffiti, which the regular contractors are not able to reach because it's up on the second or third stories. The other major program the Office of Community Beautification operates is working with community volunteers on cleanup and neighborhood beautification events. In the fiscal year 13-14, OCB coordinated and supported 324 events citywide. This involved 24,622 volunteers who provided over 111,000 hours of volunteer service to the City of Los Angeles. The overall cost to the city to support these efforts was approximately $161,000. And if you base the volunteer time on the industry standard provided by the independent sector, these volunteers provided back $2.9 million worth of services to their various neighborhoods and communities, beautifying and cleaning up the parts of the City of Los Angeles. OCB staff also provided 71 cost estimates in vandalism cases at the request of City Attorney and LAPD, and appeared in court 10 times as an expert witness, allowing the city to collect $43,711 in restitution for the graffiti removal program.
Thank you, Paul. Moving to page 14 of the report in the Bureau of Contract Administration. After providing a brief summary of what the Bureau does, we provided an explanation of the metrics and statistics related to the Bureau that it oversaw in fiscal year 13-14, and provided 4 areas of comparison of the work done by BCA in 13-14 with that work of the prior fiscal year. John Reamer, Bureau Director and Inspector of Public Works, will briefly discuss the highlights the metrics offer and answer any questions at the end of the presentation. Mr. Reamer.
Thank you, President James. Good morning, council members. It is indeed an honor and a privilege to be here before you and share with you the Bureau of Contract Administration's efforts during fiscal year 13 and 14. We are your eyes and ears to ensure that contracting in the city of LA is done transparently and consistently. We use 3 words to identify our efforts. That would be quality, compliance, and opportunity. Under quality, some highlights would be we responded to over 9,000 requests for inspection under special permits. Those are utility companies, individual homeowners that want to do work in the public right-of-way that require an inspector. Our men and women go out and ensure that the work is done according to the plans and specifications. We're all aware of the fact that the city is moving quite aggressively and responding to damaged sidewalk. For fiscal year 13 and 14, this was the first year where we really got started on this. We inspected over 12,000 lineal foot of sidewalk that was repaired. For compliance, and this is a topic that has been quite on the lips of many over the past couple of days and weeks. We are your city's state certified labor compliance office. We are certified by the state of California to receive and monitor certified payrolls for any work that's done in construction, to make sure that the amount that's paid, the prevailing wage rate, is correct. In the year of 13-14, we collected over $1.4 million in restitution for men and women that were not paid appropriately. We're also the designated administrative agency to ensure that for living wage, men and women are also paid properly. And in that area, we collected over $400,000 in restitution for men and women who unfortunately were not paid properly. Under Opportunity, a project labor agreement is the tool that the city has chosen to use to ensure that men and women have an opportunity to work on the projects that are funded by taxpayer money. We had over 42% of the hours worked on our projects under PLA worked by local residents. 21% of those hours were worked by disadvantaged workers, and 60% of the hours were worked by local apprentices. This totaled over $3 million in monies reinvested into the lives of men and women who live in the city of Los Angeles. So that speaks to our commitment to ensure that opportunity does exist on the work that we are providing. And then ultimately, lastly, for Opportunity, when we are in contract with many of these contractors, it's important that they are paid timely. And we processed over $197 million in payments for that fiscal year within 30 days, which is required under state law.
Thank you, Mr. Raymer. Moving to page 17 of the report, and the Bureau of Engineering. After including a brief description of what the Bureau does, we provided summaries of some of the projects the Bureau worked on in fiscal year 13 and 14, including the Los Angeles River, the Machado Lake Ecosystem Rehabilitation Project, the Rainforest of the Americas Project, and the White Point Landslide Project, along with 2 areas of comparison of the work done by BOE in fiscal year 13-14 with the same work of the previous year, as well as some of the metrics and statistics related to the Bureau. Ken Redd, Deputy City Engineer, will briefly highlight some of the projects. Ken.
Thank you, Commissioner. Good morning, Ken Redd, Bureau of Engineering. Along with those key projects that we awarded, I just want to highlight that the Bureau of Engineering awarded through the Board of Public Works, awarded 120 projects, completed 124 construction projects, and more importantly, if you look at the 2 permit issuance of permits, S permits were completed in less than 60 minutes, or issued in less than 60 minutes, were 91% and 98% for A permits. But what I wanted to highlight on that is not only are we continuing to put out capital improvement projects across the city in the Bureau, the private development is also picking up. In 13-14, those A permits, we issued 2,851 A permits, and that's a 14% increase from the previous year. The S permits, we issued another 2,629 permits, an increase of 11.7% from the previous year. B permits, we issued 295 B permits. That was an increase of almost 24% from the previous year. And utility permits, we issued 10,837, again a 14.6% increase from the previous fiscal year. So as you can see, the economy is picking up. There are permits being issued, and we're excited for that and grateful to have people at the public counters to issue those permits and keep the work going in the city of Los Angeles.
Thank you, Ken. For the Bureau of Sanitation, turning to page 21, sanitation is our largest bureau. After a brief description of the Bureau, we provided descriptive data for the 3 major programs run by the Bureau: the Clean Water Program, the Solid Resources Program, and the Watershed Protection Program. The report listed 3 areas of comparison of the work done by the Bureau in fiscal year 13 and 14 with the prior year, and lists some of the metrics and statistics connected to the important work the Bureau of Sanitation does. Lisa Mowry, the Bureau's Chief Financial Officer, will go over a few of the highlights of the 3 major programs and the metrics as well.
Good morning. Thank you, President James. Lisa Mowry, Chief Financial Officer. With our Clean Water Program, also known as the Wastewater Program, one of the areas where we're delighted to be contributing towards the sustainability of the City of Los Angeles is through our production of reclaimed water. so that we can increase the amount of local renewable water supply we have here within the city of Los Angeles. In fiscal year 13-14, we produced 84 million gallons of reclaimed water, and we have projects going forward in conjunction with our partners in Bureau of Engineering and Bureau of Contract Administration to increase that amount in future years. Within our solid resources program, again, many of our activities are tied in with sustainability, including the collection of 7 million pounds of hazardous waste at our safe centers that are scattered throughout the city. This is a key component in diverting waste from landfills and getting us to our current diversion rate of 76.4%. And in our third program, our watershed protection program, also known as our stormwater program, we're focused on cleaning our catch basins, which not only reduces flooding, but also reduces the amount of trash and other contaminants that enters our stormwater system and can be deposited upon our beaches. So our more than 4,000 catch basins cleaned per month is a key component to the beach water quality GPAs that you see for us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Mallory. Turning to your attention to page 24 of the report for the Bureau of Street Lighting. After a brief description of the scope of the Bureau, the report describes three major aspects of the Bureau's work in fiscal year 13-14: LED streetlight conversion, maintenance, and private development electronic plan check. The report lists three areas of comparison with the prior fiscal year and provides metrics and data related to the work of the Bureau. Norma Ashakian, the Bureau's Assistant Director, will cover some of the highlights, pun intended, of the data. Norma.
Norma Sahakian, Assistant Director, Bureau of Street Lighting. I would like to just provide you with some of the highlights for the Bureau of Street Lighting in fiscal year 13-14. The Bureau of Street Lighting converted an additional 14,000 street lights to bring the city's total to 154,000. The Bureau repaired 85,500 streetlights while maintaining an average of 99% of streetlights operational throughout the city, and repaired 98% of streetlight outage reports within 10 business days. The Bureau also installed 6,000 lockable vandal-resistant pull box lids citywide. We deployed a map-based application to report lights out for the iPhone and the Android. The Bureau also implemented in fiscal year 13-14 an electronic plan check service for private developers and processed 25% of plan checks electronically. There were 1,355 new streetlights installed citywide. And in fiscal year 13-14, the Bureau also installed the first pilot to install telecommunication equipment inside a streetlight pole, and the first pilot to attach an electric vehicle charging station to a streetlight pole within the public right-of-way. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Sakian. And finally, the Bureau of Street Services on page 27 of the report. The report focused on 7 key areas related to the Bureau's work in fiscal year 13-14. The Pavement Preservation Program, an open data initiative, the Neighborhood Council Blitz Program, enhanced tree trimming, improving small asphalt repair or pothole turnaround time, creating more walkable neighborhoods, and expanding customer service options for your constituents, as well as the many millions that visit our city every day. Nazario Saucedo, the Director of the Bureau of Street Services, will discuss the highlights of these programs for fiscal year 13-14, and then we will take your questions for any of our Bureau Directors. Mr. Saucedo.
Good morning, Council members. Nazario Saucedo, Director of the Bureau of Street Services. As you well know, the Bureau of Street Services is responsible for the maintenance and preservation of the largest municipal street network in the nation, also for the largest sidewalk system in the country, and of course for the largest urban forest in the U.S. In terms of pavement preservation, 2013-2014 allowed the Bureau to complete over 2,200 lane miles of pavement preservation for the second year in a row. That allowed and enabled the City of Los Angeles to maintain an average pavement condition index of 62. That is, our street system has a grade of C. In terms of pavement preservation as well, the Bureau of Street Services was able to release the first interactive color-coded online map that enables residents and businesses to determine what is the pavement condition of the numerous city blocks in the city of LA. If you go to our website, council members, you will see the pavement condition of each one of the almost 70,000 city blocks in LA. This was the first interactive map released in the country by a major municipality. In terms of the Neighborhood Council Blitz, 13-14 was the first year of the Neighborhood Council Blitz. Basically, this is an opportunity for neighborhood councils to get involved and prioritize their needs for repairs. Basically, we meet with each one of the 99 neighborhood council districts twice a year, and we perform repairs. Last year alone, we were able to address over 1,000 locations, and we performed over 120,000 square feet of repairs. In terms of tree trimming, 2013-14 was critical because we went from trimming $500,000 per year the prior year to trimming approximately in the amount of $4 million per year. That also allowed the Bureau, of course, to reduce the tree trimming cycles of our urban forest. And in addition, we were able to maintain over 11 million square feet of landscape medians. That's equivalent to 250 football fields. In order to create more walkable neighborhoods, the Bureau of Street Services was able to construct over 1,200 access ramps in the city of Los Angeles. And in addition to other projects that are built using grants, the Bureau of Street Services was able to enhance pedestrian infrastructure. Lastly, we were able to, in 2013-14, to expand our customer service options. We now make ourselves available in 5 different ways through 311, the 311 smartphone application, BSS, LA Street Network, and of course, Twitter and Facebook. So we're more reachable and ready to provide access to in response to your constituents.
Thank you, Madam President. Thank you, Committee Chairman Buscaino.
Go ahead, Mr. Buscaino.
Thank you. Thank you for the presentation. Colleagues, you know, as it relates to infrastructure, this is something that we, along with our constituents that we serve, see each and every day. It's a core function of city government and an important one as well. In the coming month, I'll be working alongside Mr. Krikorian as we craft a comprehensive sidewalk repair program. Really looking forward. This is a 40-year-old problem that we're looking at finally fixing on a citywide basis. We're looking at our streets. Our streets, you know, we have nearly 9,000 lane miles of streets that are in failed condition. Looking forward in the coming year to address that as well. I just want to take an opportunity to thank each and every one of you, and also the men and women who are on the ground, paving our streets, behind the counter, working with our contracts, trimming our trees, ensuring that, you know, addressing the watershed issues. Thank the men and women who work day in and day out, who represent the Bureau, and of course our commissioners, our leaders, and Mayor Garcetti, who's put this issue on the forefront of his agenda on his Back to Basics movement. So I want to thank each and every one of you, and looking forward to serving alongside my colleagues on the Public Works Committee, Mr. Price and Mr. Cedillo, on the policy side of moving forward and finding our ways to improve the quality of life in the city of Los Angeles. So thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Buscaino. Mr. Labange?
I'm going to ask Mr. Koretz to have a special introduction, then I'd speak.
Well, he's on the queue as well for the same issue.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to introduce 68th graders from Paul the Apostle School. If you could all stand up, we'll recognize you. Along with their teachers, I believe Ms. Alessi and Ms. Danielski. So we welcome you to City Hall, and you can listen to us talking about some significant parts of how we're going to run the city right now. So very welcome. Great to have you here.
So you're not adding anything to this item, Mr. Koretz? You were on the queue, and so was Mr. Labange.
You were on the queue for that, or with this? He was on for that. We just switched that for the students.
Go ahead,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Labange.
Madam President, Mr. Buscaino, the powerful Public Works Committee, members of the board, this is very good. I see our CAO, who's such a fine CAO here. Last week when we finished the budget, an idea that I never was successful in is trying to get us to look at infrastructure 6 months away from the budget. So like in October this fall, this is a great report. But it would have been greater had we had it in front of our budget, just to let you know, because I think it's so key on that. I strongly believe, in the mayor's representatives here, I hope you're taking notes, that there should be 7 members of the Board of Public Works, and they should be defined by the 7 planning areas. And they should be almost like the voice there. Do you have that, Mr. Mayors? Okay, thank you. So I think it's something you should look for, Mr. Buscaino. Look for is trying to be able to do that. A couple things, notes that I did make there, which is so key as we go forward. You mentioned events. I sometimes think you got to coordinate the schedule, because sometimes people plan their events and they have no idea what other process. You should have some blackout days when you look at events, Paul, because you could work 52 weeks a year on a weekend, but there's some you should black out, and even in August, because people who do take vacation, it's just an important thing to look at that as you go forward. Also, I wanted to say, and I just love you, Nazario, but I love street cleaning to sanitation. I mean, it's a big, big, big deal. I think you should study that, because all trash ultimately gets into that drain. And I believe street services is great on the urban forestry. They need more support on sidewalks when they get the support, and absolutely paving at Crew 152 or 252, and all the crews that do work in our district and your district are very special on that. Street services also should have, and Joe, you're a senior lead officer, so this should be right down your alley. And I'm talking about this because this microphone's not going to have my voice in about 5 weeks. You have to have that senior lead officer concept for the public works inspector. He would take a load off the police department and be effective. And with technology, which is a big issue for the mayor, put it all in that little SUV and have that inspector go around and enforce and incite the public works codes that are there. I think that's a key there. Also, this is another thing. If you look at where the trash is, it's sometimes near a walk-away, takeaway restaurant. Do we need to have in our zoning code, Mr. LeGrand, something that would charge a fee for that takeaway restaurant? Because sometimes there's a barrel of trash just overflowing like a volcano. Look at that, as you could do that in the planning code in the future. Contract administration is so key, and partnering up, which does a tremendous job. And I also want to mention on the Bureau of Street Lighting, do we need to have an honest conversation, and then maybe a little bump cost at the beginning to go back to DWP? Because it used to be the power of light, the Bureau of Power and Light. And then there was a Bureau of Water Supply out of Public Works. I mean, is that an earnest conversation to have with the new technology that's going on in the future? All the miles, all the work that's being done for paving, which is so key. Can we manage to say to our great crews who do such a tremendous job, and I mean that, and I see how they work, on daylight saving time, have them work 10 hours, 4 days a week, give that, and then take the hours off when you have the closeout session, when you can't work on major streets in the holiday time, so that you're not doing anything in the holiday time. I'm sorry, Paul. Not doing anything in the holiday time, but maybe using that daylight savings time to get more on that. So I remember as a child in my neighborhood, Mr. Henry came every 3 years. And that's why I knew Mr. Henry, because he was the tree trimmer every 3 years in our neighborhood. So it was very important. And the Bureau of Sanitation, you tell Enrique, was very special to me, because the collectors were the nicest people in the world. And as a child, younger than these great students from St. Paul, they let me throw the trash in the back of the truck and push the button. It's so, in fact, well, Public Works is in your neighborhood. They pick up your trash, they clean your streets, they clean the drains, and they do all the work that is done for the public mobility. So I just want to thank you. I'm going to write this up for you, because maybe you won't all remember what I said today, and I need Avoc's help on some of these things. He lives in the district. By the way, Mr. President, I want to know, Avoc Italian right here is the best inspector in our district. Wait a second. He removes every illegal sign on Hillhurst Avenue every Saturday when he walks. That being said, thank you, Madam Chairman. Thank you for the little extra time, and go Public Works.
It was a little more than extra, Mr. LeBon. But we love you anyhow. Thank you very much for the presentation. Mr. Koretz, you're back on the queue.
Yes, I just had one question. So there's obviously a tremendous amount of hazardous waste that's being diverted out of the landfills, probably enough to fill a small landfill by itself. What do we do with all that hazardous waste to make sure that it doesn't cause environmental problems? How do we store it and dispose of it?
Thank you. As much as possible, any items that are collected at our safe centers that can be recycled or have components that can be recycled, we do that. For the other components that truly are hazardous, we, depending on what type of hazard is involved, make sure that we work with companies that are certified to be able to handle those types of hazardous waste in the appropriate manner, which is different for the different types of waste.
So where does it ultimately get stored and disposed of?
That really all depends on the type of waste. There are certain landfills that are specifically set up for certain types of hazardous waste. There are other types of hazardous waste that can become inert. For instance, if they're mixed with inert materials, it's no longer a hazard. So it is very different and very specific for each type of waste.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Buscaino.
Thank you, Madam President. So with that, colleagues, again, thank you, Mr. President, and to our commissioners who are here. Mr. Szabo, congratulations on your reappointment. It's going to be a great ride. Looking forward to working with you. And also Commissioner Repenning, who recently joined the commission, and of course Commissioner Monica Rodriguez, who is just serving with passion and commitment to the Bureau. And thank you so much, Commissioner Rodriguez. Don't call me Romero. I really appreciate that. It's going to be really, with that, Madam President, this motion was to instruct the Board of Public Works to come and make this presentation. So with that, I'll make a motion to receive and file today's presentation. Thank you.
Is there a second?
Second.
Madam Clerk, open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Thank you very much. Item passes.
Okay, next item, please.
Item 1 is called special for cards.
All right, if we can get John Walsh, followed by Bill Watkins. Again, if you're walking the aisles, I'm going to ask that you have a seat, and unless your name is called, keep the aisles clear. Wanakala.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org, a quarter of a century at LAUSD as a teacher. I'd like the young people to realize that beer and wine is a poison. As I would say almost every one of you here are no more than a half a block to a block away from someplace where you can buy beer and wine. And many of these places sell to underage. So these people up here take campaign contributions from the beer and wine sellers, and then they give out license after license after license. And God forbid anybody in your family is hit and run. It's blood of these city councilmen who give out these licenses to sell beer, because when anybody is killed, hit and run, it's because of beer license. And I've been here for 20 years, and I've only seen one beer and license ever refused. HollywoodHighlands.org.
I will only speak 1 minute on this issue. It's very important to tell the children here that we need more alcohol in society. That's why we're getting more beer and liquor licenses. Marijuana is coming too. Wait till they find a way to make money out of marijuana, You'll all be able to smoke marijuana as you please. Drugs, there's a lot of legal drugs that you can...
Stay on the item, please.
Yeah. The item is you should not give any more liquor licenses to anybody. All you're doing it is for the money, and you keep telling us that you're working for the good of society. That is pure bullshit. It really is pure bullshit. And this horseshoe is full of
Okay, you're not on the subject, so thank you, Mr. Alcala. Yeah, well, you just took two, so thank you very much. Yes, Mr. Labange.
For the students here, the United States Constitution allows language that sometimes is not appropriate, and so I apologize to St. Paul.
Thank you for that, Mr. Labange. And please don't have any outbursts again from the audience. You'll be disrupting this meeting, and you'll be asked to leave. Yes, did want to let you know, under general public comment, they have the ability to pretty much say whatever they wish, and they do oftentimes. So anyway, the podium's yours.
Keep it
Thank
clean.
you.
I'll keep it clean. Hi, Bill Watkins here. Appreciate it. Good morning. I'm alcoholic, 13 years sober, thanks to God. Whoops, find the range on the mic. I drank underage. I was hit over the head with a lot of advertisements saying that alcohol was okay, and a lot of establishments from bars to, unfortunately, a home life that was unfortunate as well. But I do recommend we say no. It's a complete sentence. I learned that in a program called Al-Anon, a 12-step program. It starts with N, then it goes to O, and then you do a period, and it actually works. What happens is you do give up money in the short term sometimes, but your long-term benefits are for health and for the community, for people like me that had a hard time with this. So I urge everyone to look at those two words, convenience and necessity. Let's make sure that's not too convenient. And let's make sure if we do necessity, we have to bring in MDs. You have to bring in doctors. If you're going to talk about necessity and alcohol, let's make it a medical issue. Like marijuana, let's make it all medical. Medical alcohol. And if we're going to do those type of terms, we need doctors on this panel available to talk about alcohol. That's when you bring in those words, convenience and necessity. Convenience is a scary term when alcohol is on the line. I don't want to talk devil to a council that's in the public and we separate church and state. But if I ever wanted to talk about the devil, it might be about alcohol and saying yes because it's so easy to do. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. Mr. Hunt?
Even the Klan stay drunk sometimes. I've been arrested about 60, 70 times for being drunk. That's a big problem. Even though that you know that using alcohol can be effective in some ways, and it cannot be effective in other ways. We know that alcohol use is abuse. We know that the Klan stays drunk sometime. We know that each and every parent has been drunk once or twice, or even maybe 10 times. Jesus drank wine because he was kind. He was so divine when he drank wine. Yes, I'm just one of a kind. Michael Hunt.
My card under the First Amendment is under the word Hitler. Now, number one, public convenience or necessity. Convenience to get wasted, that's a good one. But what about the necessity to get wasted? Do we have a necessity to get drunk? Do we have to get drunk? No, we choose to get drunk. It's not it's not a necessity to get drunk. So under your definition, number one and number two must be denied because there is no public necessity to get wasted. There's a public convenience to get wasted, but you cannot have a necessity to get wasted. Come on. That's the law. You give this license to these people, you violate the law. 1 minute.
Mr. Herman?
Mr. Speaker, regarding York Boulevard at East First Street, this bar might be Jose Huizar's bar. That's why he's not in his seat or here. But for the children's, we're not saints. None of us are saints because eventually alcoholism has become a disease that we can all relate to in our families, in our schools, among us graduates, among all of us here. We are here for the convenience and necessity of alcoholism, thanks to this console, the horseshoe of our legislative promotion of alcohol for permits and license. I want to thank you, gentlemen, for this convenience. To all the saints in St. Paul, listen to them as Jesus made wine from his heart for the birthday parties and celebrations. Yeah, right. It was only for weddings. Only for weddings. And why? Because he was the truth. And the truth will set you free, big ears. 1 minute.
All right, I believe that concludes public comment on that item, so we'll go ahead and open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay, we'll go ahead and take item 2. If you're going to boo, we'll be asked to leave. If you're going to give shout-outs from the audience, you are disrupting the meeting. All right, Mr. Herman on item 2. Pass. Bill? Item 2.
I urge to say no. I think a lot of people predetermine their votes. Some sent them in and are sick and aren't present. I urge no to have an analysis done about alcohol, and I want everyone to research when the last time that was done. We look at marijuana. We look at other drugs. When was the last time a city council met and convened and talked about the dangers of alcohol? I want that to be looked at, and I want you to strong consider changing your vote today, right now. I'd love to see one vote that said no, 1 out of the 13 or whatever it is, or 15. I'd like to see a no vote to say that we're not sure on alcohol. It's been a while since we studied it. We're going to get MDs, doctors, to look at necessity. Instead of taking the money in the short term, we're going to say no right now and look for other avenues for revenue, and we're going to think about things a little bit. By the way, saying boo and yay and clapping, that's a First Amendment right. If it becomes disruptive, please, by all means, call us on it. But when we're showing support or concern about something, that's a First Amendment right to free speech, straight up from the federal government. If we're being disruptive, let us have it, Mr. Cedillo and everyone else. I agree to curb a lot of what we're doing. It's too much, and I'm working on that. I take these guys out to lunch. I'm working on it. But don't curb the right to clap. We clapped when we had our presentations, Mr. Parks. We clapped for you guys. We can clap. And in this case, I'm saying boo to a yes. And I'm saying thank you for consideration on a no until we do a medical assessment of alcohol and its impact in our communities. Please change your vote from yes, which is probably on your piece of paper. You're probably electronically doing it. I hope you haven't done it already. Please change that to no. I want to see at least 1 or 2, please, to think about the city.
Mr. Hunt?
Again, I say to you folks.
We're going to ask you not to yell at the mic. If you're going to yell, you'll forfeit your time.
I say to you folks, I am the Knight of the Thumposaurus, and I believe in alcohol, and I believe that it should be issued in that district. It's the alcohol district by the Staples Center and everything. Weezer, you got my vote of approval on this one. Keep them drunk, keep them in jail, and I think that all of you guys are doing nothing about alcoholism. And I say this again, and I say this to win. I say that this alcohol issue and more alcohol establishments should be done. Thank you, Mr. Michael Hunt.
Mr. Akala, followed by Wayne.
I wish to speak 1 minute on this issue. Once again, alcohol is not a necessity. Alcohol is not a convenience. It causes a lot of problems. What the hell is wrong with you people? Don't you understand what people really need? They need a place to live. We don't need all these high rents. Mr. Bonin and the people from, where's that, O'Farrell, from Venice, yeah, we don't need all this alcohol. We need places to live, and we don't need all these, what do you call it? You want everybody to be rich? What do you call that? Gentrification? That's pure bullshit. 99% of the people are very poor. 1 minute, I said. You didn't hold it. Are you holding?
We don't hold your time, but thank you very much.
What?
Thank you very much.
You're holding my minute?
No, we don't hold your time.
Oh, well.
Roll over.
Hold on. Why would you not hold my minute?
Now you're not on the subject.
Not on topic.
You're not on topic.
Alcoholism produces a lot of problems, and you want revenue for the city. There are other ways to get revenue. In the first place, the federal government can print enough money to take care of everything. We live in a fictitious society anyway. So why in the hell are we bothering the people with all kinds of tickets and all kinds of bullshit? Give it up.
Seeing no other speakers, we'll go ahead and open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
We'll go ahead and take item 22 next. Thomas? Yes. Thomas Gray, please.
I've only signed up in the event that there was somebody speaking in opposition to this motion, so since there doesn't appear to be, I have nothing to say. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Wayne?
Good. Thank you very much for the emancipation of these properties from the slavery of the LA City Corrupt Council Criminal Organization Syndicate of Los Angeles. Finally, these hard-working landlords are being freed. Like Martin Luther King said, he had a dream. He had a dream that affordable housing would be free of the REAP program. And today, we give thanks to CD3, CD5, 7, 8, 9, and 13 all have districts where properties are being freed from the corruption, from the payoffs of having to pay off the inspectors to get the certificate of occupancy. Thank you, landlords. God bless you all, and may you never have to go on REAP again.
Why don't you stay there and go ahead and go to item 20 now, Wayne. We'll go ahead and open the roll on that item, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
All right, Wayne, you're on 20 and 26. So go ahead and speak on 20 and 26.
Okay, number 20, somebody named Nicholas Roxborough. Come on, that's a fake name. He was probably put in witness protection. His probably name was Herb Jones before he was changed to Nicholas Roxborough of the Witness Protection Program. And he's in the police permit review panel. Well, that means he's in witness protection. And Financial disclosure statement pending. What are you hiding? What are you hiding on this supposed name of Nicholas Roxborough? Who is this mystery man? Financial disclosure statement. We don't know. We don't know what his investments are, but we're going to put them on there anyway to give licenses to people who make campaign contributions. Vote no on the Nicholas Roxborough, a.k.a. Witness Protection Number, whatever he is. Say no to this appointment. No to Nicholas Roxborough. Now, what number are we on now? Oh, according to the city councilman, it doesn't matter. Thank you. Mr. Krikorian has opened up my minute for additional public comment. So now, because it doesn't matter, Nicholas Roxborough, we'll speak about another minute about Nicholas Roxborough. Nicholas Roxborough was born under a bridge in a handbag in 1944. And he moved to Los Angeles one day dreaming to be on the police permit review panel. Today, he realizes his lifelong dream of being on the LA Police Permit Review Panel. And Thursday night at 6:30 on Rinaldi, the Police Commission's having a special meeting in CD12. Please attend and give Nicholas a big congratulations.
Okay, Bill Watkins on 26. 1 minute.
Did we vote on 20? I'm confused. Why do we go from 20 to 26 without voting? I'm confused right now. You're going to vote later on both?
Both items are before us. Go ahead.
I'm sorry?
You're on 26.
Okay. Oh, I have 40 seconds, I guess. As with 25, which I was not allowed to speak on because it was confusing the way the clerk printed this agenda, 25 had a blank space next to it, and I didn't see it to the last minute. And on semantics, Mr. Labange didn't let me speak. Just please consider non-lethal LAPD approaches.
He is not talking about 26.
That is deploying LAPD, sir. Deploying LAPD. Do I have this wrong?
It's not a deployment, sir, but go ahead on 26.
Can I have some time back, please?
No, you can keep speaking on 26. You've got your time.
No, you've interrupted my time, sir.
You asked a question.
Sir. LAPD deployment is a topic. Consider non-lethal force.
Okay, I just gave you extra time for that. Okay, thank you very much, sir.
See you in public.
Okay. Mr. Hunt on 26, please.
Let's talk about Chief Charlie Beck and the train wreck. It's not only in the Gardens, it's not only in South Central, it's in Venice as well. The train has wrecked all over Los Angeles. Safety is important. The kids at Venice High School was compromised because the train has wrecked. Chief Charlie Beck, Goonie Goo Goo, could you believe that fucking shit? That
If you're gonna yell, you're gonna be asked to forfeit your time. You're not gonna yell. You're not gonna approach this body in a hostile manner.
South Central, whether it's in East LA, the train has wrecked for Chief Charlie Beck. And I'm asking Los Angeles, could you believe that shit? And just not in South Central, it's in Venice as well. They beat the mentally ill as well. They shoot, they kill, and they go to people's school and...
He is not talking about
Okay,
these
you're not on the subject matter. You are not on the subject matter.
Adequate for the city of Los Angeles, and you guys know that. And it's just not in South Central LA. And that is on topic, sir.
Let's go ahead and go John Walsh on item 20. Pass. Want to call on 20? Pass. Kevin on 20? Okay. All right, so we'll go ahead and open the roll on those 2 items. Close the roll and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay, thank you very much. We're going to go ahead and take 29 and 31 together for Arnold Sachs, 29 and 31. This is a last warning. Sir, you keep walking up and down the middle of the aisle, and it's disrupting the meeting in the middle of the meeting. So either find a seat or stay in the back. That's your last warning. You'll be asked to leave the meeting. And you can walk around in the back of the chamber, sir. It's your last warning. Now you're disrupting the meeting, sir, by yelling out. So excuse me, you're disrupting the meeting. I'm giving you instructions. I'm not asking you any questions.
Yes, thank you. Good morning, and it's good to see you're taking up the county's process and also the metro process of lumping public comment on items on the agenda into one big moment. It's so totally unfair. Anyway, item 29 refers to street furniture revenue, which is bus bench revenue for public transit patrons, needing to improve conditions for public transit patrons. How about better bus service? That might improve conditions for public transit patrons. It's amazing. And by the way, if you look at item 8, it's $22,000 for some construction materials, supplies, and services, and $21,000 for paint and sign supplies. And 27 actually mentions $644 for street furniture revenue for paint and sign maintenance and repair. So why are they spending $644 in council district? Is it? In one council district, and $21,000 for paint and sign supplies in another district. It just really doesn't make sense. 31 refers to the court-ordered ADA compliance, $31 million that the city has managed to come up with. You know, you measure our revenue, the local return funding that Mr. Parks made a motion to take $200 million, $240 million of the Measure R local return funding and borrow against it that was going to be used for
streets. He is not talking about these items.
Okay, you're not on the item.
You're talking about $31 million for sidewalk revenue. You took $200 million that was coming back from Measure R for street revenue, and you're going to borrow against it, but you didn't name what projects it was for. In addition, it also deals with the CRA. And the CRA and its wonderfulness. You know, there was a story about...
Okay, you're done. Thank you very much. Your time is up. Thank you. So next speaker, your time is up. Excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me. Your time is up, sir. 5 minutes cumulative total for the meeting. Sir, it still totals up for the same for the meeting, sir.
Discussion with the
Thank
president is inherently disruptive.
Now you're disrupting the meeting.
I'm sorry.
He is disrupting the meeting.
Now you're disrupting the meeting. Excuse me, sir. That's your last warning. You're disrupting the meeting. Going to be asked to leave. One more outburst. All right, Mr. Herman, on 31 and 29.
What number?
I'm sorry.
Staggering.
Just item 29.
Oh, okay. For 1 minute, we're talking about the staggering Ron Calperin's insult towards all of you for relative funding needed to improve conditions to public transit patrons in the Council District 8. How dare you think you're going to get away with this bullshit? Stop subjecting the public to more harm and your offensive criticism, the way you did to the gentleman in the blue shirt, Mr. Watkins. Stop interrupting this council to approve from the mayor the $22,500, and I hold my time to 1 minute because of your offensive rudeness to provide me 1 fucking minute to speak. And yeah, that gets me upset. I come here all morning to enjoy the meeting and make little nerdy remarks
Okay, you're not on subject. Not on subject. Not on subject. Thank you very much. Okay, your time is up. You weren't on subject. Now you're wasting the... Okay, please cut his time. Thank you very much. That concludes 29. We'll go ahead and open the roll on 29. Close the roll and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
All right, Mr. Hunt on 31.
Mr. President, there's a request to send item 29 forthwith.
That'll be the order without objection. Thank you very much.
31 or 30? 31. No, 31 has to do with the court thing. CRLA. Court case. 31.
CRLA.
Lawsuit.
Let's talk about lawsuits, folks. Let's talk about how the city of Los Angeles capriciously abused their funds with lawsuits. We got a lawsuit on the one hand with the city of Los Angeles and the state of California. We got two high-priced attorneys, like we had in the Dowd and Hunt case, that makes no sense when they both can come to the table and actually settle the lawsuit. Why pay twice? Because the city are dumb Fs. The city of Los Angeles don't care about how much money they spend. They told me, take my case to small claims court and get an attorney so that we can get an attorney and come down there and waste people's money. The state and the city versus each other, that they have capriciously abused the discretion of the public and their money and their funds. Because you guys don't know anything. You guys are too busy holding side conversations and not listening to the public. Burning up people's money. $1,400 an hour for one attorney and $2,200 for the other one.
Thank you. Juan on 31.
Juan on 31. Juan on 31 says, why do we have so much homelessness? CRLA, IRLCLA, and UCLA and LACLA. Anyway, you got all these agencies working for the homeless. You made an industry out of homelessness. What the hell is wrong with you people? Don't you know how to end any problem? You cannot even fix the sidewalks or the streets. You have made it an industry out of homelessness. So there's a necessity to sell alcohol, but there is no necessity to end homelessness because it creates jobs for public employees, for social workers. In other words, here we are again, another agency that was supposed to end homelessness, and all they did was raise rents for everybody, so you created more homeless people. You are a homeless-making institution because when somebody buys a home already, you will levy all kinds of liens, fictitious and non-fictitious, and you will make all kinds of laws to take the money away from the people that already own property. You are a bunch of fools. We are all a bunch of fools, really. And this guy that's trying to control us, really, what is he trying to control us? All we're telling you is the truth, and the truth is you really are not very good at anything else than making money for yourselves. Go straight to hell.
All right, Arnold, we're going to take you back up if you want to speak for on item 31. Pass? Okay, thank you. So we're going to go ahead and take item 30. We're going to take item 30. John?
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org. J. Walsh Confidential. When I moved here first, 1966, I'm telling you right now, you could eat off the streets. You could eat off the sidewalk when Mayor Sam was the mayor. Now, I want to call your attention when it comes to homelessness. Go to my website, my Twitter account, at Hollywood Dems, and look at the picture of the people who are living at this very moment at the historic Hollywood and Vine sign. Hollywood and Vine intersection. They're living there. They're selling drugs. They're defecating. They have their all sorts of flop house sleeping bags there. Why don't you help these people instead of just letting Hollywood go? Come to Hollywood. I say to the homeless of the world, come to Hollywood, and you can eat, sleep, and defecate all you want on our streets. HollywoodHighlands.org.
Mr. Herman, you have one more minute. Item 30.
Downtown Boyle Heights, El Sereno. Help for the homeless to help keep streets clean. Ain't that a bitch? When I sat up in that commission meeting listening to Mr. Cedillo fight on behalf of the homeless people's property, yeah, keep them clean, huh? Genocide to the homeless people. Remove their belongings off the street, discard them into the trash, and all your litigation and arbitration of bullshit I heard. That's right, for the record, to you, Mr. Mayor. See, Dion, I don't have to get all crazy to yell at you. I'm just calm.
Stay on the subject, please. You're not on the subject.
I'm talking about the homelessness problem. We become the homeless capital of the world. Come to Los Angeles and feed the homeless while you tourists visit. Because $22, $21 million won't satisfy the problem. You are a bunch of garbage, as Juan says. Bullshit, bullshit talks, and you never walk.
Okay, we'll go ahead and take up item 30 up now. Oh, sorry, did you have a card on 30? Oh, you were out of time, sir. No, thank you. You were already out of time. Use your time. Excuse me, if you're going to disrupt the meeting from screaming out again in the audience, it's your last warning. So, 3 times, sir. So we've got your time. So if we're going to go ahead and now take up item 30, open the roll, close the roll, and tab. Excuse me, sir. If you want to talk to the sergeant, you could do that as well. Close the roll and tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Great. Thank you very much. Okay. Arnold on 33. Juan on 33 as well. Whoever's there first, go ahead.
Another lawsuit.
I'm sorry, Juan. I'm sorry. Yeah, I apologize. Finish your time. Thank you. I'm sorry, you're already out of time, but go ahead and have a seat. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Good morning, Arnold Saxon. Just out of curiosity, again, I bring up the county and its operations. The LARIC system, the Los Angeles Emergency Infrastructural Emergency System, they had a hearing at the county, and it's about intercommunications throughout the county of Los Angeles. $150 million from the federal government for this program. And they've decided, the fire department has decided that it's too dangerous to put the towers on county property fire stations. So I'm wondering what the city's input is on this regarding the towers that may go up in the city of Los Angeles. And they were going to do 140 or 170 towers, and they're down to like 48. So again, I'm wondering what the city's impetus on this is also. because the wisdom of the city council versus the county board of supervisors, there's a huge gap between those two departments.
Okay, thank you. That concludes the cards on 33. We'll go ahead and open the roll. Mr. Labange?
Issue, just to let you know, whoever cited it put it in the center of what would eventually be a parking area for Hollywood area LAPD. So I just want to make note, and I don't know who's to make note to.
We'll make a note for the official record.
No, I don't want an official record. I want someone who is responsible. Is anyone here from the departments?
No, I don't believe so.
Is the CLA here or CAO?
CLA is here.
Mr. CAO, just Mr. CAO, who is here, Mr. Santana, just note on this issue here. You don't have to sit down, but just note that they placed it in the center of a parking lot, which will encumber us from any use of that larger area to make a larger parking lot for Hollywood area LAPD. So I don't know if this was as good as we could have done in our thing, and I want to note that so for the future we don't have that problem. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Okay, we'll go ahead and close the roll on that item and tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Okay, that passes. Now we're going to go ahead and take item 32. Item 32, Raul.
And
Salinas?
Mr. President, for the record,
Yes.
the budget resolution for fiscal year 2015-2016 has been circulated.
Great, thank you very much. Followed by Pablo
Yes, sir.
Cabillos.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
This is with all due respect to the Downtown Community Job Center in LA. I respectfully request that you increase the budget for it because it provides a lot of jobs for me. It's an asset to the community. I urge that, again, the council, with all due respect, they increase the budget because it's also like a safe haven for me because, in other words, I will go look for work in the Home Depot parking lot, but then I would be asked to be removed by the officers, with all due respect to them too, and just basically increase the budget for this. It's an asset to the community, and it provides work again for me. Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Buenos días.
Good morning.
Mi nombre es Raúl Salinas y mi compañero me va a traducir. Soy jornalero de la ciudad de Los Ángeles.
Un momento.
Good morning. My name is Raúl Salinas, and I'm a day laborer.
Ok. Esta mañana nuestros líderes de Downtown Community Job Center, pertenecientes a IDESCA. Esta mañana nuestros líderes de IDESCA
This morning, our leader
nos informaron que el Comité de Finanzas de la ciudad
informed us that the city committee
había autorizado un dinero para los centros jornaleros siguieran
had
funcionando.
authorized money for the labor centers,
Algo así como $750,000, algo así.
approximately $750,000.
Sí, pero también nos informaron que el concilio de la ciudad aún no lo hacía. Aún no lo aprobaba.
But we've also been informed that the city council has still not approved those funds.
Entonces yo vengo a pedirles de corazón, ¿verdad? En nombre de mis compañeros jornaleros y yo,
I'm here to ask you from the bottom of my heart, in the name of my fellow day laborers and myself,
que sea aprobado por favor por el concilio de la ciudad,
to please approve it by you guys, the city council,
ya que para nosotros es muy importante y para nuestro crecimiento personal.
It is very important for us and for our personal well-being.
Nosotros los jornaleros se lo pedimos de corazón,
As day laborers, we are asking you to please approve it from the bottom of our hearts.
pero sabemos que la ciudadanía de Los Ángeles se los exige.
And we know that the residents of Los Angeles is demanding this of you.
Porque ellos no nos querrán ver orinando en las calles, defecando.
They don't want to see us urinating or defecating on the streets.
Ellos nos quieren ver estudiando, trabajando.
They want to see us working and studying.
No queremos dar una mala imagen.
We don't want to give a bad image.
ni molestar a la ciudadanía ni a
We don't-
las fuerzas públicas también.
We don't want to bother the residents nor the law enforcement agencies either.
Muchas gracias. Es todo.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. Kevin Modis?
Hi, my name's Kevin Modis, and I'm asking this council not to spend any of the budget on the LA RICS program that's deploying 82 cell towers across Los Angeles without notifying the residents receiving these cell towers. This is a serious health issue, and this is a deeply flawed program. The Firefighters Union fought this program because it was unhealthy. It had cancerous and neurological health effects associated with it. If it wasn't safe to be on the top of fire stations, why in the world would it be safe to be near our residences, on top of our hospitals, near our schools, and why aren't you notifying people? This program is all about not notifying. In addition, these cell tower, public towers, will allow private cell companies to place their transmitters on these towers, increasing the radio frequency radiation exposure on these cell towers by hundreds of thousands of times. In addition, these private cell companies will no longer
Mr.
have
President,
to go through a zoning process.
The item is regarding the budget.
Yeah, sorry, sir. Sir, if you want to speak during general public comment, we're actually on the budget item right now. That's a general public comment.
I think this is related because this represents a significant budget item.
It's not. It's actually that item isn't even in the budget. But if you want to speak under general public comment related to that, you can do that as well.
Please stop the LA RICS program and the cell tower going up on the Pacific LAPD station this Friday.
Okay. Mr. Walsh? Pass? No? Come on up.
No mention of cell towers in the budget? Oh, I don't know. Who wrote the who says that? Helen Keller? The cell towers are in the budget. I'm not going to go through it because he just stopped me. But, you know, this budget is a monument to the city council. It's a monument to Herb Wesson, who's God knows where he is today, unless he's hiding in the back. I'm telling you right now, this budget should be folded 4 ways and stuck where the sun doesn't shine. We'll get 15 copies and one for the mayor. Now, let me tell you, there's an old comic saying, what is the definition of a camel? A camel is a horse built by committee. And there's nothing with more humps than your city budget. HollywoodHighlands.org.
Okay, Mr. Kokorian?
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, you have before you the budget resolution. It's consistent with the council's prior action. I move approval.
Great. And
I'm sorry, one other comment. Because the day laborers were here asking about funding for the day labor centers, you'll recall, members, that by action of this council, the funding for the day labor centers is exactly the same as it was last year. That funding was restored to last year's levels.
Great, thank you very much. And one speaker on the queue as well, Mr. Bonin.
I was just going to make the same point, Mr. Kokorian.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much. Seeing no other speakers on the queue, we'll go ahead and open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Great, thank you very much. That item passes. That'll be sent forthwith. Without objection, that'll be the order. Okay, we're going to go ahead and one second. We're going to go ahead and take some items for general public comment, and then we'll go into closed session on the one item that we have for closed session on 31, and then we'll come back out of closed session and complete general public comment. Okay, Brian, maybe, followed by Jess Hirsch, followed by Amber Trueblood. Morning, sir.
Good morning, Mr. President. Honorable members of the City Council, I'd like to first apologize for the disrespect that's been shown to this body this morning. There are many of us who appreciate your public service and are glad that you're here today. I'm a public law and CEQA attorney, and I represent Stop LA RICS Cell Towers, an unincorporated association of disenfranchised Los Angeles residents whose voices were silenced leading up to the city's ill-founded approval on April 17th of a 70-foot monopole cell tower at LAPD Pacific Division Police Station located at 12312 Culver Boulevard in Los Angeles. Let me start by saying that we fully support the efforts to establish a post-9/11 emergency communication system. However, the LA RICS project has been fatally flawed since its inception. Perhaps most troubling, project proponents circumvented the CEQA process by lobbying the state legislature for an exemption despite the project's significant environmental impacts. The public has not had a chance to be a part of this process and deserves that right.
Great, thank you, sir. Next speaker, please. And if you could just state your name for the record so we get it correctly.
Mr. President, honorable members of the City Council, on April 17th, the Council authorized the LA RICS LTE project to include cell towers on LAPD stations, including the Pacific Division station a few hundred feet from my home. This action was taken without public comment, indeed without agendizing the issue for the meeting. The Council's action runs against the Board of Supervisors' March 24th approval that was conditioned on necessary public outreach, which was not done. The Board's approval further instructed LA RICS to suspend construction at facilities where residents are opposed. The race by public officials to approve the project to meet funding deadlines has left the public without recourse. I'm a resident opposed to the project. The project should be suspended to allow for sufficient outreach and adequate review of health and safety issues.
Great, thank you. And again, if you could just state your name for the record so we have the correct speaker.
I'm sorry, what?
Your name, ma'am?
Amber
Great.
Trueblood.
Excellent, thank you.
And I have here a copy for everybody of the 412 signatures on the petition to stop the Pacific Division Tower at that location. My name's Amber Trueblood. I'm here as a mom. I have 4 sons, 2, 4, 7, and 8, so I'm very tired, but I appreciate your time. As you know, cell towers are going up everywhere, and this proposed tower at Pacific Division has 7 schools in its immediate vicinity with over 2,500 children. This doesn't even account for all the babies and toddlers not in the school programs. I submit also these letters from physicians showing over and over again the negative impact, especially on children, given their increased vulnerability to radio frequencies. So I'd like to submit these for the public record. The Los Angeles firefighters, as discussed before, were concerned about their own health and safety, and their union took their concerns seriously, stood in front of the Board of Supervisors and told them they did not want the towers on their buildings. The supervisors heard them and stopped construction and installation of those towers. We just ask the same for these 2,500 children of you.
Thank you. Jamie Trueblood? Excuse me, do not yell out at the meeting.
I'm actually Mr. President, honorable members of the council. When cigarettes first came out, we were told they were safe, as we were told about asbestos, lead, and DDT. Like those, wireless and RF radiation was created to make our lives more convenient, and also like those, it's listed with the World Health Organization as a Class 2B carcinogen. More and more people are getting sick from RF, and I am one of those people. Now there's towers all over the freeway. I'm wrecked after about a half hour on the 405, and my cell phone, I pretty much don't ever use it unless it's an emergency, and when I do, it makes me sick. At least with cell phones, though, you have a choice as to how much RF you expose yourself to, but not with a tower across the street from your home. It's like a 70-foot burning cigarette that we all have to live downwind of. You can't see it, taste it, or smell it, but it's there and affecting people 24/7, especially children. As the sole breadwinner of my family, I need the healthy environment in my home to reboot and get me through the work week. RF levels are still low in our neighborhood, but they won't be for long after this Friday. If it goes up, we'll have to move.
Great. Thank you very much. Sir. Thank you.
Please don't put out that tower.
Thank you. Enrique Martinez.
Hello, my name is Enrique Martinez. I'm here to make a public comment on the cell phone towers and on how unhealthy they are. The LA Fire Department union fought to keep them off their buildings, and because of the unhealthiness of them, they're a Class 2B carcinogen. LA RICS program is planning to put a cell phone tower on the LAPD division, on Pacific Division Station, and other local communities, which is racist. I live in Wilmington, California, where there is a cell phone tower. I would love to get that taken out. It's unhealthy for me and my kids, and it's racist to have them in our neighborhood without notifying us and giving us a chance to protest them and tell them that we do not want these in our neighborhoods. I'd like to thank the council for our time and just want the LA RICS program stopped ASAP.
Alexis Martinez.
Translator? Or can I get a translator for English?
Good morning.
Good morning. Hola, mi nombre es Alexis Torres Martínez. Estoy aquí hoy representando el condado de Los Ángeles.
Hello, my name is Alexis Torres Martinez. I'm here today representing the County of Los Angeles.
Estoy aquí porque quiero que paren la programa de LA RICS.
I'm here because I want you to stop LA RICS program.
Estas torres son peligrosos.
These towers are very dangerous.
El Organización Mundial de la Salud llamaron las microondas que vienen de las torres celulares clase 2B carcinogen.
These towers are very dangerous, and the Global Organization of Health called these towers that they have a lot of microwaves that they call them very dangerous, and they're the class 2B carcinogens.
Es nueva madre, esto me preocupa.
As recently a new mother, this worries me a lot.
La Unión de Bomberos le ayudaron a luchar este programa.
The union of the fire department, they help to fight against this program.
Los latinos, ¿quién tienen para ayudar nosotros?
And who's going to help us, Hispanic population?
Esto es racismo.
This is racism. This is racist.
Nosotros tenemos que tener notificación.
We have to have prior notice about this, what's going on.
Nosotros queremos parar este programa de LA RICS.
We want LA RICS program to stop.
Gracias.
Great, thank you. Cecilia? No longer here? Okay. Kevin?
We were told very clearly by the Board of Supervisors that communities that didn't want these cell towers wouldn't get these cell towers. We have 350 signatures saying we don't want a cell tower on top of the LAPD station at the Pacific Division. The issues of health are really very clear, and the denial by government is really exasperating. The California Medical Association has just come out and said the safety standards over microwave radiation are inadequate to protect people. Just 2 weeks ago, 190 scientists from 39 countries say wireless microwaves damage DNA. Our safety standards only cover burning, and people need to know people really are getting sick with electrosensitivity and cancer, and we want this program stopped. There are too many questions regarding the safety of this program and the inadequacy of our safety guidelines. We're asking that right away the LAPD station tower be stopped that is meant to be built on Friday, and that the LA RICS program come to a halt due to lack of safety precautions.
Thank you, sir. Alex Lopez. No longer here? Okay, we'll file your card. Jose Martinez? Not here. Rosa Cabrera? Okay.
Buenos días.
Good morning.
Mi nombre es Rosa Cabrera.
My name is Rosa Cabrera.
Estoy aquí porque quiero saber cuáles son mis derechos.
I'm here because I want to know. I'm here because I want to know what my rights are as a Hispanic woman.
Porque he sido golpeada por la policía,
Because
por la autoridad.
the police, the authority has beaten me.
Sí, injustamente.
And they beat me unjustly.
Entonces se supone que aquí venimos a trabajar, a dejar nuestro esfuerzo.
We are here to work and to use our efforts to work.
Y no por una injusticia se nos trate así.
And we are not supposed to be treated in such a way because it's unfair and unjust.
Porque se supone que ellos están para proteger a uno como mujer.
Because supposedly they're supposed to be there to protect us as women.
Y hace 2 meses fui arrastrada, golpeada, ensangrentada por
And
ellos.
2 months ago, I was dragged, I was beaten, and I was bleeding on the hands of them.
Lo cual hasta ahorita ignoro el motivo.
And up to now, even, I am not familiar as to the reason why they did that to me.
Por lo que se me hizo esto.
Why they did that to me?
Porque ni me arrestaron, nomás me esposaron, me bajaron.
Because they did not arrest me. They just handcuffed me and they put me down to the ground and they beat me.
Y quiero saber también qué es lo que yo tengo que hacer.
I want to know.
Como mujer.
I want to know what it is that I can do as a woman.
O a quién puedo acudir, ¿sí? A la hora de una violencia doméstica que tenga.
Who can I go to? Who can help me in a situation of domestic violence like I've experienced?
Como la que he tenido con mi esposo.
Like I've experienced with my husband.
Y la policía.
And the police.
Es todo.
That's all.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you.
And thank you for, yes.
You can see where we could direct her to the city attorney's office, domestic abuse.
Yes, please. Yes.
Domestic abuse. Is that correct, Mr. City Attorney?
Thank you very much, Mr. LaBonge. Okay, and I called earlier, and I'll try one more time. Shane Gregory. Morning, ma'am.
Good afternoon. I'm here on behalf of Stop LA RICS Cell Towers. In the past month, I've walked 8 of the 19 LAPD neighborhoods, flyering homes to alert the residents, and no one knows about the LA RIC towers going into their neighborhoods. I'm very, very concerned about that. They ought to have a right to have some input. I walked Pacific, 250 people, no one knew. On April 17th, when you unanimously voted to go forward with the LA RICS program, what you did was you took the toxic burden off firefighters' backs and you put them on the backs of the men, women, and children, and indeed the unborn who live in these towers, in the areas of these towers. It's not too late to change this. To err is human, but to correct your mistake is humane. Firefighters' lives matter. but so do ours. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. Okay, we're going to go ahead and adjourn now in a closed session. So if we can please, or recess, I'm sorry, recess in a closed session. If we can please clear council chambers. We're going to go ahead and recess in a closed session.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Shh. Madam Clerk, what business is still before this body?
Mr. President, next is general public comments. Still remains.
Okay, so let me have Mr. Walsh and Mr. Sachs. Mr. Previn.
Point of information. Did you report out any action, or was there no action? You can tell me that after my minute. John Walsh, HollywoodHighlands.org. We're still deliriously happy. I like the story in the Times yesterday where Herb, in one day, collected almost $1 million for Carolyn Ramsey. He had every single politician in the state, except Howard Berman, on their knees in front of Carolyn Ramsey. And let me tell you right now, the Koreans didn't elect Rue. In fact, primarily, the Koreatown is in Wesson's district, the way he wrote it. The reason they won is angry white guy vote. That was the difference. And we are the angry white guys, and we elected Rue, and we will continue to elect people and make Herb Wesson look like what he is, Uncle Tom. Take back your 4 seconds.
Mr. Sachs. Mr. Previn, followed by Mr. Herman.
Yes, yes, it's Eric Previn, a resident from CD2. Mr. Sachs is no longer here. That you took a closed session, sir, in the middle of the general public comment. I know you have not been at the meeting until now. By the way, is there a quorum? Because I must tell you guys, we're beyond the pale. This meeting is a travesty, sir, and I would like you to take control of it somehow and maybe meet with your team to provide a clear, well-lit place for people to address items on the budget, okay? Item 27 was a nice public works report that, frankly, is quite glossy and high-end, and I was not allowed to speak on it for reasons which are absolutely baffling. Mr. Englander really needs to adjust himself appropriately. He's very law enforcement and public safety, but he does not comply with the rules while you're not here, sir. That's why we need your leadership to take control and to restore order to a public meeting. Sir, I know you're very, very good, but this is not the legislature. This is the city council, okay? So we don't do weird committee meetings and then when people come to their meeting, they're denied access. That's silly. We're going to change that together, all of us, and I know one of your team will step up. Maybe it's the new Mr. Rue.
You're welcome. Thank you very much. Mr. Herman, is there Bill Watkins? And after him, Mr. Hunt.
Hey, Herbie, how do you like it? You lost. You and your Koreans on that side lost, but we gained one Korean in District 4 where LaBonge is no longer seated right now. Yay! And by the way, don't forget, every item that I put a card on, I want it for the record, like item 32 and so forth. You love to take our time away, and I just love to record. As you see, we were successful for voting in Rue. RYU. Why? Because when I was at the Greek Theater and I saw his big poster on the front lawn, watching war, so you lost, Herb. You and all your loser friends that have all the money funded in for your special interest and your political interest, you loser.
Thank you. Mr. Watkins, please come forward, followed by Mr. Hunt, followed by Mr. Akala. Yes, sir.
Nice to see Mr. Wisar back. Thank you for your presence and everyone's service. I came in, excuse me guys, thanks. I wanted to help curb this is a big reason why I came out today. I wrote something I wanted us to sign. We're not ready for it over here to behave in a way I think is respectful to the council. I was learning the rules today, so thanks for patience for anyone. I was upset at some things, but this was my first full meeting. Nice job, Bill. Give myself a round of applause for just being here and trying. I didn't know the 5-minute rule. I will look for the council rules online, I hope, unless the city clerk has the rules present and I can have them before I leave. I like to read these things, actually. I'm sober enough, 13 years, and no longer homeless, and I wanted to help with some of these issues. I hope I can help be a liaison, a decent, helpful liaison to my district, Mr. Wisar, and to anybody on the homeless and alcohol issue. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Followed by Mr. Akala, followed by Mr. Spindler. Go ahead.
Yes, I think this is a train wreck with Chief Charlie Beck, folks. It's a train wreck with Chief Charlie Beck. We have a guy getting slaughtered with sticks. We have a young man getting shot. We have retaliation going on in Venice. We have the school kids being compromised in Venice. We just don't understand that, but we know it's a train wreck with Chief Charlie Beck. Choo-choo! We're calling for him to fix the problems or either resign. Alberca, the captain, needs to leave. There's a train wreck with Chief Charlie Beck. This is why I'm not at work, you guys. This is why I'm down here. The third lawsuit is a charm. Thank you, Mr. Michael Hunt. Yes.
Okay, Mr. Okala, followed by Mr. Spindler.
They tell me if I take this off, I look normal. If I put this on, I look like an Egyptian. I look like a pharaoh. What the hell? What's wrong with you people? If you put on a tie, you look like a politician. Mr. City Attorney, you look like Mr. Monopoly Man. Anyway, from my point of view, you are playing along with a system that is totally against human dignity. You're putting people out on the street without any feelings in your hearts. You know, Mr. Price? No, the other guy. Anyway.
Thank you, Mr. Spindler.
For the record, I'm being harassed by LAPD at this meeting. I want it to stop. Stop using LAPD sworn officers as terrorists in these meetings. You don't need to do that. We wait long enough to speak. You interrupt public comment so you can go back there and make your deals. Okay, we don't need that. Now, David, were you won and your city hall lost? Where is David Rue for his congratulations? None of you have congratulated him in chambers for his win. Why? He is a member of this council-elect. He has every right to be here and to be congratulated, just like you do with your other puppets that win. Somebody out of 15 lost. It's still 1 versus 14. You can't bring the guy here and congratulate the first Korean American to win. Well, he won. He's going to come. Woo, woo, David Ryu.
Okay, thank you. That concludes Madam Clerk, general public comment. I have no more cards. If there's a card, does anybody have a card for her? Please come forward and identify yourself. I don't have a card. Please come forward.
Good morning. My name is Marta Luz Gonzalez, and I am here to voice what's been going on a large case that no one had taken notice, and a lot of people were evading to, well, let me say, my son Jonathan Carey was not representative of an attorney and representative of a public defender. Seems to be that there was a public defender, but somewhere along the line, almost immediate, had fizzed out. And he was falsely incarcerated at the Twin Tower, and there have been so many discrepancies, significant, that nothing was being done about it. And it happened in several states, like in the state of Alaska, Kodiak, Palmer, Anchorage, and also in California, here in the county of Los Angeles, and Santa Barbara,
Thank you.
Colorado, and Texas.
Thank you very much.
But, sir,
Thank you. Your time is up, but thank you so much for coming. All right, so that concludes general public comment. Members, I want to officially put this in the record. As of a result of a technical difficulty with the posting of today's Economic Development Committee agenda and tomorrow's council agenda on the city website, these meetings have been canceled. Madam Clerk, that brings us where?
Council has motions for post and referral.
They're posted and referred.
That clears the desk.
Announcements? Any announcements? Let us rise to go into adjourning motions. Okay, I will look, looking to my right side, Mr. Krikorian's side. Mr. Parks?
Thank you. I'd ask that we adjourn in memory of Ricky Damon Gibson, who was born March 3rd, 1973, and passed away May 11th, 2015, at the age of 42. Ricky was born in Los Angeles to Morrow and Renford Pruitt. He's the faithful member of Abiding Love Christian Fellowship Church in Los Angeles for over 11 years. He attended La Tijera Elementary School and Morningside High School, and he was a football star. After attending University of California, St. Louis Obispo, he pursued a career in music, successfully recording more than 6 albums under the moniker of Green Eyes. Just as his musical endeavors were taking off, he heard and answered the call to Christ, and he entered the ministry, speaking and encouraging youth. In 1998, he met and married Nikki Carter, and after, let me get my things, met and married Nikki Carter. He leaves in his memory his mother, Murray Gibson Rice, and a host of family members. His funeral services were held May 20th, 2015, at Harrison Ross at 4601 South Crenshaw.
Thank you, Mr. Parks. Mr. Labange?
Thank you. Richard Frank, whose family, he himself, created the Tamashanner over on Los Feliz, and then the Lorries on La Cienega. Great guy. I met with him the last few years, and the whole family, and he also started the Beef Bowl on La Cienega between when the Pac-10 played the Pac, really when the Pac-8 played the Big 8, now the Big 12 with 12. But a real good guy, great family, wonderful restaurants, and great staff. All the staff who worked there worked a long time, which is a credit to Richard and his management style. May he rest in peace, a great man at 92 years old.
Thank you, Mr. Labange. I look to my left. I don't see any on my left. I would like to mention that I just returned from the funeral of former Assemblyman and State Senator Dick Mountjoy, a character to say the least. Had been in office for over 22 years. Some of us, I think Mr. Cedillo served with him for 4 years. I served with him for 2 because he was termed out in, I think, 2000. But he was a good man, and his son then followed him in the into the legislature, and that was his son, Dennis Mountjoy. I also, on a personal note, would like to adjourn in the memory of my uncle, Cleo Wesson, from Gary, Indiana. He was the former president of the Gary, Indiana City Council, and served for 40 years. He was first elected in 1960. So if we could all adjourn in the memory of Cleo Wesson. With that said, this meeting is adjourned.